What is up, fight fans? We are live on MMA Weekly UFC Fight Night in Vegas. Number 1, Max Holloway against number 3, Yair Rodríguez at featherweight. Jim Grieshaber along with Jeff Cain. And we are going to throw it straight to the podium with Andrea Lee, who defeated Cynthia Calvillo by TKO corner stoppage at the end of round 2. Here's Andrea Lee live from Vegas on MMA Weekly.
I'd love to fight in front of a crowd. Yes, Houston has been rocky for me, but you know, I think that I don't know. I feel like I broke that. What am I trying to say?
Curse.
Yes, that curse. I think I broke that curse. At least I hope I did.
Valentina also seems to like to fight in Texas. I'm not saying like title shot next, but there's a lot of fighters ahead of you that have already fought for the belt. Are you looking at these names and being like, well, she wants a fresh face, like it has like back-to-back stoppage wins in this division? You have to be probably on the short list for the title shot, right?
Yeah, I mean, for sure, she definitely is probably looking for a fresh face, and I know that the UFC is looking for a fresh face, and I'd love to be that one. But you know, we'll see what happens. I don't think that they're gonna, you know, I don't think that. I'm trying to earn it. I'm trying to deserve it, you know, and I want to believe that I have. I don't want to just, you know, leapfrog over everybody. You know, I do want to deserve it. I want to earn it.
I'm sure you've watched all of her fights and just game planning for the champion of your division. But after Lauren Murphy's performance against her, Lauren was saying like she couldn't do anything there against Valentina. So when you're watching these fights, are you seeing things that Valentina's doing that you believe you could take advantage of that all of her opponents just haven't seen yet?
Honestly, Valentina's pretty close to perfect, you know. You know, she doesn't have a whole lot of weaknesses. But, you know, I'm hoping to get out there and, you know, bring it to her, you know, someday and give the fans, you know, something to watch. We're good? Thank you.
KGB, Andrea Lee, shout out to my guy Tony Kelly, who's in the UFC again fighting, and Tony is Andrea's boyfriend. They're together. I was running to them when I see them at the fights, but a nice performance, Jeff, by KGB, a big win over Cynthia Calvillo. She's ranked number 12 coming in, and you know, we're getting to that point. People are talking about a title shot for a 12th ranked fighter because Valentina's just beaten everybody. It's like Amanda Nunes, who fights on December 11th at UFC 270. They've beaten everybody in their divisions. They've cleaned it out. They've cleaned it out again. They've cleaned it out again. They've beaten the title contenders twice now, and everybody's been recycled. I mean, Andrade comes up. Valentina beats her. Valentina's running out of people to fight, so we start getting questions like that in press conferences like, hey, how about you? You never had a shot at her, and, you know, somebody's going to beat her at some point. If there's one thing we know about this sport, Cyborg got beat, Fedor got beat. Everyone gets beat except John Jones. But, you know, and eventually he will too if he sticks around long enough, because everyone does. Who's it going to be? We don't know. But we have gotten to that point where every single girl in the world who could possibly fight Valentina, we're almost at the point where she's beaten them all. Jeff, I think you're muted.
Anyway, I was saying that nobody's beating Valentina anytime soon, and certainly not the 12th ranked person. They're going to have to keep recycling people. I mean, I would question whether Andrea Lee should even be in there with Valentina. That's how I think that fight would go. You know, if I'm going to be honest with everybody, man, I don't want to see her. You better get paid a hell of a lot. Might be your last fight.
Hope you got good insurance, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't mean to laugh. I'm not laughing at Andrea Lee. I'm laughing at the brilliance of Valentina. You know, I'm not laughing at Andrea.
And Andrea's, you know, she's on a good fight, a good little streak right now, and she's finished her last 2 opponents. I mean, Andrea Lee is a veteran of the sport. I'm not dogging Andrea Lee. It's just that, you know, John Stockton's not beating Michael Jordan. Doesn't mean that he's a shitty basketball player. It just means that's a terrible friggin' matchup.
That is a terrible man. And Stockton against Jordan's probably the perfect one for you to mention, because Stockton's like 6'2", and Jordan, you know, exactly. So, but you know, and you know what, Jeff, we were talking about this last week when we were on live for UFC 269. I always lose track of the numbers now, but with Gaethje and Chandler and Kamaru and Colby and Thug Rose and Wei Lee, thinking that either one of those girls could have possibly gone up with a win or could possibly go up and face Valentina. I thought Rose had the length and had the body to do it until I saw the two of them embrace backstage after the fight, and I saw the size difference between Valentina and Rose. And I went, oh, my God, Rose would get murdered. It would be street justice. I mean, there would be nothing left of Rose Namajunas. If you look back and you see that video of the two of them or a picture of the two of them meeting up backstage when Valentina came to congratulate Rose on that win, there's no way Rose is moving up and fighting her. There's no chance. There's literally nobody to fight Valentina. Someone's going to beat her sometime, but it ain't going to be anytime soon.
No, and it won't be Rose even then. But, I mean, that was Rose on fight weight and Rose on fight day and Valentina out of camp. And so, yeah.
That's true.
I mean, Rose is...
But just the height.
Rose,
did you see the height difference?
Yeah, Rose got to get that fight to the ground if she's going to take on Valentina, and she won't. The fight goes to the ground, it's going to be because Valentina got a takedown. Rose isn't taking Valentina down. She's not going to outstrike her. She's not as fast as her. She's not as powerful as her. It would be an absolute nightmare matchup for Rose Namajunas. And there's no reason for Rose to go up. She squeaked by in that fight. There's a lot of work for Rose to do in her division before we run out of opponents, if you ask me. I mean, I don't know why Dana doesn't want to put Carla Esparza in there. I don't know what she's done to piss off the UFC, but I mean, she's earned it. She's ranked high enough. They have history. Yeah. The storyline's there.
He doesn't want to put her in there, man. He's non-committal, and she's coming out and talking about, and even Gaethje. Dana's non-committal with Justin Gaethje for Oliveira and Poirier, and they're talking about possibly Islam, and Khabib is even advocating for him, Jeff. And it's just Dana is not, and so it just depends on the fighter, man. Sometimes he'll go absolutely there next, but Justin Gaethje and Carla Esparza, man, like there's no, I mean, what else are you going to do in that division? Who else is going to fight her? There's nobody left to fight Rose Namajunas. She just beat Wei Lee twice. She knocked her out in the first one. She dominated her didn't dominate her, but won a very clear decision by dominating the fifth round, at least in this last fight. She knocked out Joanna earlier, and she dominated her in a 5-round fight as well. So who else is out there for Rose Namajunas right now? Carla beat her back in the day. I mean, there's just nobody. It doesn't make any sense. I don't understand the logic sometimes. I know they have their reasons. I know they know a lot better than I do. So I'm not questioning their expertise. I'm just questioning their methodology and wondering what they're thinking, because I have no freaking clue.
Well, yeah, I mean, you got to question, why the hell do we have rankings, and why do we even do these fights for people to get in line whenever that doesn't earn you a shot? It comes down to market. Why would they give Islam a title fight? Because he's got to be a huge star in the Abu Dhabi market, because they can go to Russia. Why did they push Wei Lee? Because the Chinese market. It has nothing to do with wins and rankings, or even if you're coming off of a loss. It has to do with marketability, and I have a problem with that. I have a huge problem with that. Conor McGregor is going to come back and get a title fight. With a losing record in the lightweight division, back-to-back losses, and acting like a jackass for 6 months, and he's going to get a title fight when he comes back. Especially, I mean, if Poirier wins, it's a no-brainer. I mean, and that's what the UFC is going to do. That's why they're not committal on Gaethje. And so
because they're going to give it to Islam because of the worldwide market, right? Just the same thing like Chimaev.
They're going to give it to Conor is what they're going to do.
You don't think you think they're going to give it to Conor? Oh my God! Wow. That would be exactly. Can you imagine the uproar and the backlash if that happens? Can you imagine? I mean, he's coming off 2 losses. I mean, he's coming off more than 2.
So here's the question that people have.
Cowboy is about as legitimate a win at that point in his career for Conor McGregor. His win over Cowboy is about as legitimate as a WWE match at this point, in my mind.
Okay, I mean, yeah. But what people should ask themselves, and this is the only thing you ever have to ask yourself when it comes to UFC matchmaking, is Conor McGregor versus Poirier 4, I guess is what it will be then, going to sell more than Poirier and Islam? Yes. Yes, it will. And so that's the fight they're going to make. And who cares about justifying it or explaining it away? They don't give a shit about that. Nick Diaz got a title fight on a year suspension for failing a drug test and off of a loss. The UFC don't give 2 shits about public opinion, nor do they care about legitimacy. It's about selling. It's all about selling. And Conor, mark my words, Conor's going to get that title fight. That tweet that he sent out the other day saying, all these nobodies
I saw that.
Trying to get the title fight. The title fight's mine. Well, I didn't see anybody refute that. That's all I'm saying.
I just kind of feel like the only Conor fights I want to see right now, and I'll be honest with you, Jeff, is I want to see Conor Diaz 3. And I want to see what did I just do? Hold on here. I don't know if you guys lost me. So like all this stuff started opening on my computer. The only fights I want to see for Conor right now, literally, are Diaz 3 and Jorge Masvidal. They go back and forth, and Conor's ripping him for backing out of the Edwards fight with an injury, or not backing out. I don't want to make it seem like he's punking out, for not being unable to fight because of an injury. And Conor's ripping him for that. And then even Kamaru Usman, of all people, comes out and says, you who blames every loss on an injury, you're coming out and talking about another dude with injuries. I thought that was cool for Kamaru to do that. But, everybody realizes when they come at Conor on social media, it's going to up their clout a little bit. It's going to up their game. It's going to put them in the spotlight. They're going to be in the headlines. And, Conor's still at that point, right? Well, the interesting thing to me, Jeff, is Conor McGregor gets a title shot against the winner of Oliveira or Poirier, especially if it's Poirier, and you got Conor Poirier 3, and this time it's Oliveira. It'll be like all of a sudden Poirier would win the belt and say, I'm fighting Conor again to put this to bed once and for all. The champion's calling his fight, and then everybody else has to get in line. But I will say this: if it's Islam Makhachev, shut up and win 3 more fights. I'm sorry. All this talk from Khabib, all this talk from Islam, he is not a title contender right now. He needs to beat some guys, man. He needs to be, and Hooker's great, right? Dan Hooker, but he is not a stepping stone to a title fight. He needs 2 more wins, at least 1 more over a legit competitor at the top of the division. Let's be real about that. Islam, forget about Islam right now. But if it's
Dan
Justin
Hooker
Gaethje,
a year ago,
and his only losses to Khabib in 3 years, and he's beaten Chandler, who had the title shot and almost beat Oliveira, and he's beaten every single fighter except Khabib since he lost to Alvarez and Poirier, and the Poirier loss was 3 years ago. Justin Gaethje is the guy. For them to put anybody else in there is a slap in the face to Justin Gaethje. It's a slap in the face to the fans and the sport and everyone involved. And it delegitimizes, like you said, it completely. It delegitimizes or whatever. It delegitimizes the rankings. It makes them illegitimate. However you want to word it, they throw them out the window, throw everything out the window. And Justin Gaethje, as he said, is going to go to war and start a riot, as he should, because he's the guy. Conor McGregor has as much business getting a title fight right now as I do.
That's, history. People can, just look back on it. It would be unprecedented for the UFC to give the number 1 contender a title fight, more than it would be to give somebody that didn't deserve it. I can tell you, people get title shots way more often that aren't the number 1 contender than they do when they are the number 1 contender. I'll just put it that
Michael
way.
Chandler, Charles Oliveira, yeah,
they can go back and look at it. I'm go back to 1997. Go look it all up. That's just the way it is. It's about marketing, and that's what it's about. And Poirier will want the Conor fight. He beat Conor's ass twice easily. Easily. Conor wasn't in either one of the last 2 fights.
You got to watch the last one over, Jeff. You got to watch the last one over.
I did. And Conor got
Conor looked good in the last one. He looked better than I thought.
I don't know what fight. That's not the fight I saw. I saw Conor getting lit up. And then
what did you guys see in the chat? What did you guys see in the chat? Because people love to rag on you, Jeff, about Conor. And me too. But what did you see in that? I saw Conor in a potential position.
I thought Conor getting ready to go to sleep.
Poirier.
And his leg fall. Well, I don't care what anybody else sees. I don't need other people's opinion to justify mine. So let's start.
Not saying you do, but I don't either. But it definitely. I feel like it was a different story, and maybe it's still the Conor thing. But
I don't.
When I go back and watch it, I see it a little bit differently. But I will say this: I see Poirier winning the fight on every level. I don't see Conor winning the fight. I see him competing more than most people thought they saw him competing. But I still see Poirier winning both those fights, with the exception of the first round in the fight on Fight Island, number 2 in January of this year. That one was Conor's round in the first round, and he came very close to putting Poirier out of there. But ever since then, it's been all Poirier. It has been. It's all Poirier.
Well,
and the next one, there's no reason to believe the next one won't be the same. Right?
To get back,
there's no reason, absolutely no reason to even think that it wouldn't be the same if they fight again or when they fight again.
Well, to get back to that, that's why Poirier will want the fight. That's why he'll call out Conor. That's why. Poirier made it quite clear when he didn't take the title fight and took the Conor fight. It's about money. It is prize fight. It should be about the money. And so he'll take that fight, and it's an easier fight.
It's why Colby's going to fight Kamaru again. 2 more wins, and Colby fights Kamaru again. Same reason, money.
No, I don't know that. I disagree with that. Colby's got to get past somebody other than champions who are retired and haven't won in this decade. I disagree with that. There'll be there'll be plenty of contenders in the welterweight division, but there's the lightweight. There's not clear cut ones, except for Poirier and Gaethje, and it doesn't seem to matter. So I think Conor's going to get the title fight when he comes back. He said it. I don't see how the UFC's not going to do that. You know, they've given Conor everything that he's ever wanted since he arrived there. I don't know why.
He doesn't even have to beat Tony Ferguson first, per se. Like, just make him fight Tony. I mean, who in the world wouldn't watch that?
It's too dangerous.
Fight Tony.
Look, if I'm the UFC,
you get it.
Dude, if I'm the UFC, I can't put Conor in there with anybody. I have to put him in there for the title
He'll
fight.
smoke Tony Ferguson, Jeff. Tony Ferguson's an opponent for Conor McGregor at this point.
I don't know. How many wins does Conor have at lightweight again?
Tony Ferguson hasn't won a round.
How many wins? How many wins does? That's not my question. How many?
He fell off a cliff like Wile E. Coyote, man.
How many does he have in the whole lightweight division his whole career?
Who?
Conor.
Oh, none. Eddie Alvarez.
One.
Eddie Alvarez, right.
Okay.
For the
it's hard
belt.
to argue a guy with one win in the lightweight division over anyone in that division, in my opinion. And so you can't put him in there.
Did you just see that? By the way, real quick, did you see that knockout, Song Yadong over Julio Arce? That was pretty impressive. All right, watch the replay. You got it pulled up. Boom, head kick.
Well, he caught him with the head kick, and it was over after that. Kid just went into defensive mode.
Oh, but that left popped his head back. That's TKO.
Well, that was the high kick. I mean, he's out there on his feet. He's just got his hands up.
That's what people are hoping to see from Yair Rodríguez, the Pantera fans out there. But go ahead, Jeff. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but we saw the knockout. I have Tourette's when
I don't think you can risk it. You can't risk putting Conor. Do you think Conor beats Justin Gaethje?
Yes, I do.
I think Justin Gaethje eats him alive.
I love Justin
Michael
Gaethje.
Chandler? You think he beats Michael Chandler? You don't think Michael Chandler just takes him down and owns him?
No, I think here's the thing. I don't think the wrestlers, we're in a phase of MMA right now, Jeff, where the wrestlers are not going to take guys down because they want to win fights on the feet. Gaethje won't take you down. Chandler won't take you. They won't do it. I just think they won't do it because their ego. I just think we're at a phase in a point in time right now in MMA where the wrestlers aren't going to want to ground it out on the ground and just take Conor down and beat him up. They're going to want to do what Poirier did and beat him on the feet and finish him on the feet so Conor can't say a word. Because, you just took him down, you smothered him.
You can't say a word anyway.
I just don't think that they'll do it. You know how Chandler fights. I don't see Chandler taking him down. I don't see Gaethje taking him down. And I don't think either one of them is a better boxer than Conor.
Go back and watch Chandler's Bellator fights. Go down and watch them. I mean,
Chandler's
a wrestler, except against Gaethje.
He's a wrestler, but he won't wrestle Conor, is my opinion. I don't think he would. I might be wrong, but unless he starts to lose.
I think Chandler, of all people, will definitely wrestle Conor.
Because he slammed Gaethje. He did slam Gaethje.
Look, Conor isn't hard to take down. I mean, come on. They match him up against strikers specifically for a reason.
But if you beat Conor on a takedown and ground and pound, there's an asterisk in their mind.
There's not. No, there's not.
Okay.
Well, then the fans need to stop watching the sport. That's the only thing that makes MMA striking different from a fucking barroom fight is that there's takedowns. Because if you want to watch elite level striking, go watch boxing or kickboxing. If you want watered down striking, shitty striking, watch MMA.
Because they all lose. Jeff, I'm not disagreeing with you there, but what I'm saying is, look, even Gaethje said it in the press conference with Chandler. We'll see who the bitch is who shoots first. That's their mentality. You shoot first, you're a bitch. That's the way they're thinking.
Not their mentality. That's his mentality is saying, I want a stand-up fight.
Yes, that's what I'm saying they're going to want to do against Conor. That's my exact point.
I disagree. Chandler's not stupid.
I'd take him
he's
down.
A three-time
champion. If I were
Chandler,
I'd take him down. Yeah, I would.
I mean, he's
especially
a three-time
Jeff, when you
Bellator
think
champion.
about coming off two losses, he'd have to do whatever he could to win the fight. I see what you're saying. I just think their mindset is about striking right now and proving who the bigger man is on the feet, which, of course, when you let your ego control you, you lose.
Yeah, my point, Sean Shelby's not putting Conor in there with any of those people. It's way too dangerous. The only fights that you can put Conor in coming back is Nate Diaz or a title fight.
Right.
That's it.
And Diaz has one more fight on his deal.
Yeah,
if you want that fight, you might have to do it now.
Who?
Nate Diaz has one more deal on his fight, one more fight on his deal. So if you want to see Conor Diaz 3, he might never come back for the UFC. He might go somewhere else, but you never know. If you want to do that fight and you're the UFC, you better do it now.
Diaz will come off the couch at 85 years old to fight Conor.
Yes, he will. He will.
So
It'll
I
be
don't
like
think that they have to worry about
it'll
that.
it'll be like Chuck Tito 3 for Oscar De La Hoya, who can't even get the name right of hey, it's Chuck Liddell.
Well, the money's always there.
You know,
Yeah,
it'll be there.
the money's going to be there.
60-year-old
Nate
Conor
can't
and
pass
Diaz,
up that
right?
money. Yeah, Nate can't pass that money. Who could pass that money up? You know, I mean,
Nobody. You have to
but
sell a
what I'm saying is
lot
it's
of
not
weed
worth
to
the
make that cash.
UFC. What Khabib should be talking about is get Islam in there with Conor.
Oh, Islam would maul him to death. Nobody wants any part of that, UFC wise. Islam kills Conor. Like he does maybe worse to Conor than what Khabib did, because Conor's not the fighter he was for the Khabib fight. He's not as good as he was. So I think Islam might kill him. I don't think anybody, and Conor's ego, I'll tell you the fight that I'd love to see at the end of the day. I mean, I want to see Gaethje Poirier again. I want to see Conor Chandler. I want to see Conor Diaz. But really, if you're a fan of the technical side of the sport, and nobody is, they just want to see knockouts, which is crazy. Go watch a bar fight. But how about Oliveira against Islam with the grappling and the wrestling? Now, that would be some shit that I would stop everything to watch as a fan of the technical side of the sport. That would be an incredible matchup.
Now, we'll see. We'll see if Islam can get past the people in front of him. I think it's way premature to be talking about him. Has he been impressive? Yes. Yes, he has been impressive.
But they bumped him up to number 4,
impressive.
Jeff. They bumped him up to 4 already. Everybody's drinking the Kool-Aid.
No, I mean, that's
where did you put him in your rankings?
Right?
Where did you vote? Where do you have him in your rankings? Do you remember, Islam?
I
know it's
probably,
not 4 if I know
probably
you.
around 8. Where was he before?
Yeah. He went up like last time he only moved up 1 spot, but before this fight card, it was like 8 spots he moved up, 9 spots.
Yeah, I mean, I would have probably just moved him up 1 spot in front of the guy he beat.
Right.
Yeah, I don't drink. The UFC doesn't tell me who the best fighters in the world are, or I tell them who the best fighters in the world are. It's different. Everybody else in the fan base, the UFC PR department tells you who the best fighters in the world are. That's the end of it. You don't know who the best fighters in the world are. You just take their word for it and you say this guy can do it. Well, I got to see you fight somebody in the top 10 that's proven before.
Just like Jay-Z,
like
guys.
That.
Just like Jay-Z, I don't get dropped. I drop the label. The one thing about people like Jeff, and I love you, Jeff, is that you're never going to, no one could buy Jeff off. No one's going to tell Jeff what he's going to do. These are the kinds of people we want with votes for the rankings. We want people who can't be bought. We want people who can't be sold. We want people who don't drink the Kool-Aid, who vote legitimately based on who they think the best fighters are. When we lose people like Jeff Cain in these types of situations with like rankings, we lose the legitimacy. And so many other people who are voting, they have no right to vote, just like the freaking writers who voted Steve Nash the MVP twice in a row over Shaq and Kobe. You guys were high as fuck when you did that. There's no way Steve Nash was a better player than Shaq or Kobe. He won the MVP because he was white. Don't get me started. But on another note, when you're voting for something like this and you vote with anything other than all the facts, all the data, how can you vote Islam number 4 when his biggest win is Dan Hooker? I repeat, how can you vote Islam number 4 when his biggest win is Dan Hooker? He's not there yet. He's not ready to be a title contender yet. Jeff's right. So you don't put him in there.
Oh.
So Oliveira and Poirier fight. Everybody thinks Poirier is going to win. I have a suspicion that you think it's going to be Oliveira because you love him. I don't know what your thoughts are.
I think Oliveira is going to have a lot of problems, right?
A lot of
Poirier's
problems.
a really well-rounded fighter. So he's hard to take down. And once you get him to the ground, his ground game is definitely probably underrated. I guess if I had to be honest with you, I think that Poirier's ground game is underrated. People forget, I know you don't because you've mentioned it a few times. Poirier had Khabib. He had the guillotine. I mean.
Por lo menos preguntarte acerca de peso, que fue una performance completamente dominante, pero tal vez un poco de peso haya cualquier tipo de influencia en eso. Él quiere saber de vos directamente. ¿Cómo ves la cuestión del peso que pasó de tu lado de la historia, que es importante saber?
Bueno, el día del pesaje me levanté en 158 libras, me quedaban 2 por quitar, intenté hacer de todo y solo pude quitar media libra. El cuerpo me dijo basta y bueno, si es verdad que hoy me pesaron antes de venir y pesaba, no llegaba ni a las 175 libras, entonces tampoco es que tenga un tamaño, haya subido con una diferencia de tamaño grande. No creo que haya tenido que ver el peso para el performance de la pelea.
When I got up at the day of the fight, I was at 150, 158, and I tried everything I did. I tried everything I could to get down, and all I did was get like a down shed, like a pound and a half. At the end of the day, after today, for example, getting a 4, I wasn't that much up there, so it's just a very small thing that happened. I don't think it played as much difference as people thought it was, but it's something that we're working on. Cool. Dale, tranquilo.
All right, that was Alvarez, a winner over Thiago Moises, TKO, elbows and punches. I don't really think he actually said much at the podium, but when he first got up there, I'm ready to toss to him, and then we froze. We completely froze, and I always say like Han Solo in The Empire Strikes Back. But I want to tell Scott, because I know he can hear us right now, don't be afraid to jump in, Scott, and say that we have the podium, because I wasn't sure if that was B-roll or the podium at first, but never be afraid to cut me off. You won't be the first, and you definitely wouldn't be the last.
Okay, right now we're watching the mic get cleaned.
There we go. That's awesome. And I forget his name, man. This dude, I love this dude. He always helps me out. Every time I was there, last August, I was there for the whole month. Every single day that I was there, he let me borrow an XLR cable to run to my camera for house audio, which was super cool because one of mine broke. And he just let me use it for the whole month. So usually the UFC staff really cool, really helpful. So Jeff, where were we? We were talking about
we were talking about the
breaking down Poirier and Oliveira, who you think would win. You said Poirier's ground game is underrated, and then we froze.
Well, I think if I'm going to bet on the fight, I'm going to pick Poirier. What I want to see happen is Oliveira win, because that throws the Conor stuff right out the damn window. Poirier and Conor fighting for a fourth time for a non-title fight, I'm fine with that. But if Poirier wins and Conor gets that title fight, I'm not fine with that. So I just feel like Charles Oliveira will win the fight, and then it kills all of that.
But if Oliveira wins, you don't think they'll give it to Conor? Only if Poirier wins, right? Is that what you're saying?
No, well, I think that Oliveira is actually a worse matchup for Conor than
he'll
Poirier
kill him
potentially. Yeah, and so.
But Conor could get him. Like Chandler hurt him on the feet, and I think Conor's way better boxer. I think if Conor hits him early, he could put him to sleep in 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds. But if it starts to develop into an actual fight in a mixed martial arts matchup, then obviously Oliveira's got a big advantage, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, if that fight goes to the ground, Conor's tapped out within 10 seconds. I mean, period.
I love Khabib, by the way. I just have to say, did you see Khabib? I don't understand. He bring all these people from Ireland, all over, thousands of people, and he tap. Go sleep. No tap. Go sleep. These people come oversee. You tap. You don't tap from your people. Go sleep. I love Khabib. He doesn't understand. He literally, you can see it on his face, Jeff. He does not understand how anybody could ever possibly tap, ever, under any circumstances. Oh, the Dark Knight Rises loves you, Jeff. Look at that.
Well, he doesn't have to. Khabib doesn't have to tap. All I know is that Nogueira probably wishes he'd have tapped to Frank Mir and not got his arm snapped. I think that Renzo Gracie, if he could go back in time, would have tapped and not got his arm snapped. Tim Sylvia probably too. I'm just saying. Mir. But the chokes, it's chokes. But you're putting your trust in the referee. And I'll say that as a fighter, maybe I wouldn't tap. But as me being me and being around the fight game and seeing referees in this game, I'm tapping because I don't trust a referee with my life.
Right.
As soon as I start getting sparkles and shit, sound cuts out, I'm tapping.
But what about if it's your arm or your leg? Are you going to tap? Or just
absolutely? I'm not spending 6 weeks recovering because out of my ego. Hell no. Those you always tap to. In my opinion, you always tap to. Once it's in and you know that there's no getting out of this and it's only going to go one way, either I tap or they're going to snap it or dislocate it, I'm tapping. I mean, I think that's crazy talk.
Go sleep. I know why you tap. Go sleep.
Yeah. And Khabib doesn't have to tap.
Wait, who just recently went to sleep before? Who did Khamzat just choke out?
Chandler went to sleep against Khabib. Gaethje rather. Gaethje.
Yeah, Gaethje went to sleep, but it was who was it that just lost it? Li Jingliang. He didn't tap out. He just went to sleep. Or Holly Holm against Miesha Tate. didn't tap out, just went to sleep. There's a lot of famous instances like that where he just went to sleep. I think it's just, you never know. You're in that position. It's a battle, life and death, and you don't know what you're going to do till you get there. Yeah. And I certainly am not going to call Conor less of a man because he tapped. Because, look, when Khabib has your neck, you might not go to sleep. You might go to sleep and you might not wake up.
Yeah, and look, it happens fast. I mean, it happens damn fast. Frank Shamrock put me in a rear naked choke, and I went to sleep within seconds. I didn't realize that I went to sleep.
Ryan Bader did the same thing to me one time, and I literally just was like,
you don't. Sometimes you do get that warning, right? Sometimes you do get the sparkles, on the sound, and you just get the feeling that you're getting ready to go out, and so you'll know. And then other times you don't. It's just the light goes off. So it depends, man. And it depends on what's on the line. It depends on what's on the line and how much time's left in the round and all of that. I would have went to sleep if I was Holly Holm in that situation, especially how she dominated that fight up to that point. There are instances where I would not tap, but I'm not talking.
Would you have tapped if you were Chael against Anderson in Brazil when he dominated the whole fight? Remember Chael tapped in the first fight against Anderson?
Oh, the triangle?
It was a choke. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a triangle. No, I wouldn't have tapped. Why would I have tapped it? Because that's what I'm saying is what's on the line. We're in the last round of this fight. If I tap, I lose. If I somehow can survive this, I win this fight. So keep hitting me with elbows. Right. I'm going to sit here until either the doctor wakes me up or you raise my hand and put the belt around my waist. See, those are one of those situations where hell no, you don't tap.
I was actually thinking about that. I was watching Chael the other day. That would have been maybe the biggest upset win in UFC history. To go to Brazil and beat the unbeatable Anderson Silva, that would have been and still to this day, maybe number one on everybody's list of the biggest upset wins in the history of the sport. And Chael almost pulled that off, man. I mean, Holly Holm over Ronda, but to go to Brazil and beat the quote unquote unbeatable GOAT and Anderson Silva, to me, that would have been the biggest win in the history of the sport. And it would still stand right now.
It would be. I mean, Sarah knocking out GSP was big. Like holy
that was
shit.
Big too.
Yeah, but those are big. I mean, that was a big upset. That would have been a big upset. He
dominated him, Jeff. For almost 5 full rounds, he dominated him in his backyard.
Yeah, people. Whenever you watch that fight, what I find most interesting about that fight is from the third round on. Anderson had that leg across his back. Nate Diaz does it. And it's just sitting there, and Chael got used to it, right? He's hammering him with elbows, hammering him with punches, and he got used to feeling that leg across his back, and him allowing that is what ended up being the triangle choke. And so Anderson was kind of keeping that in his back pocket, if you ask me, especially people who know Chael's history in the WC and stuff. He's susceptible to chokes, by the way.
No doubt. And real quick, Jeff, the fight we have on now is at welterweight, Miguel Baeza against Chaos Williams. And what's interesting about this fight is that Baeza has 10 wins, 7 knockouts. Chaos has 12, 6 knockouts. So these are 2 headhunters in there right now at welterweight in the second fight on the main card with Felicia Spencer and Leah Letson coming up. Then Rothwell and Rogerio de Lima. And then, of course, the Blessed Express, Max Holloway, back in there against Yair Pantera Rodríguez, who hasn't fought in 2 years, the last 6 months of which have been a suspension by USADA. So that's just a quick reset on the fight card, Jeff. And you were talking about Chael and Anderson.
Yeah, I was just saying that Anderson had that in his back pocket. Chael has been susceptible to chokes, and Chael got comfortable. He got comfortable beating the crap out of Anderson, and Anderson left his leg on him for like 2 rounds. And it's just there. Like I said, you'll see Nate Diaz do that when he gets taken down. He doesn't close his guard. He'll put his left leg across your back, and then you kind of get used to it. You don't think about it. It goes out of your mind. And then boom.
Almost lulls you in. Yeah, that's why I love jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu, it's not just a one-shot knockout to finish a fight late. If you leave any opening against one of those guys, that's what makes Oliveira. And Oliveira's comeback against Chandler was on the feet. But Oliveira could get dominated and find a way to win by choke or armbar or, ankle, whatever. It's one of those things where I love seeing that in a fight where someone's getting dominated and then all of a sudden they pull one out. And, as I was talking about these guys being headhunters, Baeza's got Chaos had Baeza on the ground, but Baeza's doing some great grappling right now, looking to get, possibly an ankle lock or a knee bar on him here.
Yeah, they're playing footsies. Yeah, that's what I call this. Yeah, they're both on the ground. Each of them has their opponent's leg. One of them looks for a heel hook, then the other guy looks for whatever.
He is a black belt in jiu-jitsu, Baeza.
Yeah, look, man, legs. The leg game is something that people usually don't train the most, and so you have these leg specialists that come around. And man, they're dangerous, and you better tap quick, or you could have serious reconstructive surgery on your knee coming up.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah, and he might get this right now. And you're talking about black belt versus a blue belt on the floor, and this is not what Chaos Williams would love to. I mean, he's in a state of chaos right now, although he's landing some pretty good shots from the position he's in. It's hard to describe the position. He's sitting up, literally sitting up with his legs out, but Baeza's got that. He's working hard for that heel hook. Isn't that a heel hook he's working for, Jeff?
Yeah. I mean, he went from he threatened with a knee bar, and then, he goes to the heel hook. And then you'll see, like I said, they're just both have each other's leg. I think it was smart to go to it for a leg, though. When you're a black belt and he's a blue belt, that's something that you might not be all that familiar with. Well, I mean, you're familiar with it, but you haven't been. It's not something you can train. I can't.
What does he have to do here?
A heel hook.
What does he have to do to get it locked in?
Commercial. I am on a commercial, so just let me hit live and refresh my thing.
You know what? You might have been at the end of the round already because Chaos only has to survive 10 seconds, 8.
Okay.
So I don't think he's going to lock it. You might be a little ahead of me. I'm going to try to catch it up during the break. 3, 2, and Chaos Williams is saved by the horn.
Yeah. I mean, he should take his other leg and kick him off and try to create space to get that foot out.
And then round 2 starting now, Jeff.
He's going to have to roll. Yeah. Round 2 just
I was behind.
Okay.
Oliveira versus Poirier promos up with Nunes and Pena. Juliana Pena becomes the latest to try to take down the female GOAT, Amanda Nunes, the greatest female fighter in the history of the sport. Knockout wins over Cyborg. She crushed Cyborg, Ronda, Holly Holm, all of them. Lined them up and beat them all, even Valentina twice. Although she certainly didn't crush Valentina. Valentina gave her 2 best fights, minus the ones that she lost earlier in her career.
Yeah, I mean, Valentina's going to give. Yeah, I want to see that fight again. That's the fight I want to see. But I don't know. Amanda's kind of weird to me. She's got a family now, and she isn't as active as she used to be. So I don't know. I think that if you're going to face Amanda Nunes, now is probably the best time to be facing her.
If there is, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, or maybe not.
Some people get more motivated with the babies, right?
Yeah. And some people, it becomes a distraction, I mean, Juliana Pena shouldn't win that fight. I would be shocked. But you never know, man. I mean, that's why we have the fights. I think that Amanda, nobody beats her at 145. Nobody's going to beat her at 135 unless it's Valentina. And we've seen that fight happen twice, so I don't think the UFC puts that together. Although, the second fight, I did score Valentina winning that fight.
Well, and Valentina beat Pena back in 2017 when she was still fighting at 135, and then Germaine de Randamie beat her. So she's lost 2 of her last 4 fights. She's only coming off of 1 win against Sarah McMahon. In fact, she beat Jessica Ai and Kat Zingano back-to-back in 2015 and 16. She's only fought 4 times since then. Once was in 2017 to Valentina. So in the last 3 years, she's fought 3 times. She's coming off 1 win over Sarah McMahon, and she gets the title shot. We were talking about this earlier with Andrea Lee, ranked 12th, and they're asking her about it in the press room because there's nobody left, man. But one of these days, the blind squirrel is going to find an acorn, and someone's going to get lucky against Amanda Nunes. Now, the way she's looked the last few times out, she seems like she's getting better and better. And the one thing that actually holds her back right now is the lack of quality opposition. I mean, there's just nobody for Amanda Nunes to fight anymore. And she's gotten so good. But on top of that, man, it's just that there's nobody left, and she's in 2 divisions. She's cleaned them out. Harrison's a 155er. She's too big. They're training partners and friends anyway. You're probably going to see Harrison and Cyborg at one point before you see Harrison and Nunes. So she just crushed Megan Anderson, Felicia Spencer, Germaine de Randamie, Holly Holm, Cyborg, Raquel Pennington, Valentina, Ronda, Misha, Valentina again, Sarah McMahon, and Shayla Baszler. So Amanda Nunes with this win streak, she started at 9-4 after she lost to Kat Zingano, and she's up to 21-4. So you're talking 12 wins in a row, and it's just gotten to a point now where you look at that fight or any fight, you say, wow, who's the sacrificial lamb now for Amanda? Because who's going to run in there and get that title shot and the opportunity, but have no chance to beat her? Misha Tate's what they're hoping for, right? But she's got a big one coming up. She's actually here this weekend in Arizona doing an appearance. Next week she fights Vieira, Ketlin Vieira.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the fight they're lining up for. It's a 135 because, look, I don't care about Amanda's wins at 145. The only one of them do I care about, and it was the Cyborg. The rest,
Cyborg.
I mean, and it's the same thing, because there's so few talented 145 female fighters out there, and so once you get past like two of them, there's none of them left, or they're spread out in different organizations. And so I definitely give her credit for that one, man. But the other wins, I'm just kind of like, they're just giving Amanda fights to keep fights, to keep that belt.
Fights going.
They aren't really giving her.
That was one of the best nights of my
Keep
life.
her
I was doing a
two-division
live
champ.
event. I was out with all these fighters there, and I'm doing an event, and I bet everybody at the table between $20 and $50 each. I said, I guarantee you Amanda knocks her out in the first round. Everybody at the table bet me between $20 and $50. We had 20 people at our table. I walked around to every single one of those guys. Pay me. I think I got like $400 right then and there because Amanda knocked out Cyborg in the first round. But, sometimes too, it was one of those things like Mayweather-Pacquiao, even though Mayweather's older than Pacquiao declined a little faster. It's timing. I mean, if Cyborg and Amanda had fought in 2 years before that, Cyborg probably wins. Who knows? But Cyborg was a little bit on the decline.
Yeah, 2 years before that, Amanda didn't deserve to be in there with
wouldn't have been at that point. Well, 2 years before that, she could have, because that was when she beat Tate for the title. UFC 200. I was there at that fight. Now, that was when Jones and Cormier got scrapped. But Amanda, if you did, just to refresh your memory, for all of you who are looking for Miesha Tate to be the one who possibly beats her, the last time you do, Jeff, but the last time Amanda Nunes stepped into the cage with Miesha Tate, it was the beginning of Amanda's run of being the legend killer. She beat the crap out of Miesha for 3 straight minutes on the feet, bloodied her up. She had blood pouring everywhere. Both eyes were swollen shut. And then she took her down and just choked the life out of her. That was one of the most one-sided performances I've ever seen in the octagon. Amanda Nunes over Miesha Tate. So, maybe it'd be different. Speaking of having kids and coming back, Miesha Tate. But you're right. I mean, that's a fight that sells. That's a fight that makes a little bit of money. And I wouldn't be surprised if a win over Vieira gets a Miesha Tate a title shot immediately after that.
I wouldn't be
surprised at all.
Yeah, but what I was saying about Amanda is back then, even after the win with Miesha, she didn't deserve to go up to 145 and fight Cyborg. She hadn't even really started doing anything at 135. That was the beginning of it. The beginning of the Amanda Nunes era. And so I think that it was, but you take it back, Cyborg's been fighting forever. She ended the Gina Carano era of women's MMA.
That was one of the most, that was incredible. And that win over Carano was, I was like, wow, this girl, that was when I first realized how amazing a female fighter could be. When I saw her do that to Gina after what Gina was doing to everybody else and becoming this huge star. Let's not forget, Gina Carano was the first real crossover star on the female side, not even close, by a mile. And it wasn't in the UFC, as a matter of fact. So Gina Carano became this big star. She's getting movies. She's getting shows. She's a pinup girl. Ironically, her dad used to be a backup quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys when I was growing up for Danny White, who, by the way, lives down the street from me, Danny White. But Gina Carano just got crushed by Cyborg. And that was one of the most dominating performances. And you go, who the hell is this Cyborg chick? And, man, just ended the whole
people
Gina
should
Carano
think
hype
a lot of – and Ronda Rousey has Cyborg to think. Ronda Rousey was a 145-pound fighter until she saw Cyborg, and then she said, "I'm a 135-pound fighter now." And so, that led to the Ronda Rousey era, and that's the truth. They were both at 145 in Strikeforce, and Ronda.
Cyborg would have killed Ronda, right?
Well,
Cyborg would have killed her.
There wouldn't have been a Ronda era. Yeah, there wouldn't have been a Ronda era if Cyborg was at 145 in Strikeforce and Ronda went down and beat Tate, and then the rest was history. But yeah, I think Cyborg. I think people forget how long she's been around. And to have been. It took Amanda to end that 145 throne. Nobody else was even in the conversation. And even Amanda didn't go in there as a favorite. I think that they game plan real well. That Cyborg does get wide once she gets hit. She starts throwing bombs. If you can stay tight,
Holly Holm fought Cyborg
punches.
Pretty well. She took her all. She didn't get finished. She went all 5 with her. She did pretty well against her, but still, it wasn't a close decision. Right. Yeah,
that's a professional boxer, and Cyborg closed the distance a lot, and in the clinch and stuff. Like I said, there's Holm's actually a fight that I feel like poses a lot of threat to Amanda Nunes, although she got knocked out. But Amanda Nunes, Holly Holm. It was crazy. But
that's what I want to see. I want to see Tate beat Vieira, and then Holm fights Tate, and then the winner gets Amanda, because I'd like to see Holly get another shot. And I love Holly. I love her. She's a great girl. I want to see her get another shot.
Holly has the best chance of beating Amanda.
Yeah, out of all these other girls who are fighting Amanda, Holly has the best chance at either weight class.
Yep. 100%. I agree with you.
Maybe you do it at 145 this time because they already did it at 135. Maybe that's your rub. That's your angle.
Yeah, Holly. But I think Holly's the absolute most dangerous matchup for Amanda Nunes. But Miesha Tate's a big name, right? Miesha Tate, she's coached the Ultimate Fighter. She's got the Ronda, rivalry. Everybody knows Cupcake, and so I think that she'll get it. I don't feel like the UFC will risk Holly Holm and Miesha Tate again because Miesha was getting beat down in that fight against Holly Holm, and it's Misha's tough, man. She's hard to put away. Holly wasn't able to put her away, and it bit her in the ass in the last round.
It could have been. You're right, Jeff. Amanda versus Holly should have been at UFC 200. That's the fight that happened if Holly had held on. That should have been at 200 instead of Miesha. But you give Miesha credit, obviously, for coming back and getting that choke in. But
100%.
I mean, for her to come back now and be on that level, which there's no indication that she is or she isn't. I don't think Misha's at the level she was when she was champion. She might be able to get back there. What did I miss? I didn't hit. I'm at 403. Leg kick. Oh, his leg's gone. His leg's gone.
Well, it ends worse
his
than
knee
that.
just buckled. You're ahead of me. Chaos.
I'm going to pause.
With the finish.
Yeah. Big.
He put him to sleep. He dropped him with. He put him to sleep, and it made his leg buckle.
He hit him with a right hand and put him out.
Reminds me of the time in college when I played the choking game, and they choked me on my feet and knocked me out, and it buckled my leg, and I tore a ligament in there like an idiot. They're on the feet. Oh, big leg kick by Baeza. Wait, what put him out?
Boom, short right hand right there.
Where is it, Jeff? I missed it. Oh, it went through. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Right on the side of the nose. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if
Baeza doesn't realize he was out.
No. And I wouldn't be surprised if he tore something on the way down. Look at the way he lands. And it was a devastating leg kick that Baeza landed. Oh, right there on the. Yeah. Oh, his leg's messed up, Jeff.
Oh, I'm sure that it is. I mean, we'll see. Hopefully, he doesn't have any ligaments pulled. The good thing about being unconscious is you go real limp. And so sometimes you'll just be sore from that, like Crow Cop was when his leg got caught under him with Gonzaga. But yeah, anytime that happens, man, I worry about ligaments and tendons and stuff.
I wonder if Chaos will be ranked now.
I don't know, but hey, yeah, I did want to revisit the lightweight rankings because we were talking about Islam. And I remembered while we brought the person up on stage, or the person took the stage, that the lightweight division got complicated in the last month or whatever, because Michael Chandler's now off back-to-back losses. He's off 2 losses. And Ferguson's off all of those losses, and then Islam beat Dan Hooker. And so you're like, shit, where do I put Islam? Do I put him in front of Tony Ferguson? And you're like, yeah, probably. Do you put him in front of Chandler with 2 losses? And then you're like, I don't know. There's no way you put him in front of Dariush. So
I don't think so.
I actually do understand how he ended up at 4th, and it was all about timing. Because
all right, hey
Chandler's
Jeff, we gotta unfortunately pick this back up again because we have Song Yadong coming to the podium. He defeated Julio Arce by a TKO head
First
kick
of all,
punches.
congratulations
Song
on the
Yadong
victory.
from Vegas.
What are your initial thoughts after such a violent finish to that fight?
恭喜你这场比赛的胜利啊！你刚刚这么暴力的一次 KO， 你有什么感觉？
就非常的兴奋，但是没有观众，就是持续不了特别长时间。
To be honest, I'm very excited, but without the audience, it doesn't last long. The excitement.
So that I think we believe was the right high kick followed by the straight right. Is that a combination you knew you could take advantage of specifically in this fight, or did you just see it in the moment and capitalize on it?
你那个高扫接后直是你平常就是对这次比赛有专门练吗？还是说就是你刚刚就看到了，然后你就直接打了？
我平时都有练，然后第2回合的时候，我看见他就是一直往前压着我打嘛，然后这个时候就给我创造了很多机会，然后这个时候我这个距离就可以抓得住，所以那个后高扫就直接就攻击他，对。
So I've been practicing the move itself, the combo, but like he was pressing forward in the 2nd round, and then I caught the moment, I saw his opening, and I just landed it.
On the broadcast, a lot was made about how you are just so young in this sport, but you still have so many UFC fights under your belt. You have a lot more fights than people like 10 years older than you in the UFC. So at this point in your career, do you actually feel like a UFC veteran, or do you still feel like the young kid in this division?
你打了很多比赛，然后那个在电视广播上也都说啊，你打了好多比赛，你现在觉得你是老将呢，还是一个很年轻的选手呢？在 UFC 里面。
我觉得可能就比较中间吧，也不算年轻，也不算老，所以就还有很多经验需要学习，需要提高进步。对。
I feel like I'm kind of in the middle point. I'm not too old, not too young, but I still got a lot of experience that it can be earned through training.
And then in terms of your next fight, the UFC is obviously going to these big arenas for these pay-per-views. Are you now going to ask to be on these bigger cards so you can fight in front of the fans again?
UFC 马上要在一些大的体育馆，然后承办一些大的比赛。那你现在想不想就是说，就是想要跟 UFC 说，我也想要在这些大的这种赛卡上面打比赛？
当然，我肯定想在那个就是体育馆里面打比赛，而且对我来说也是一个很好的机会，然后让更多的观众可以看到我现场的表演。
I mean, I definitely want to fight in the big arenas, and I want people to see my live performance, and it's great opportunities for me as well.
Yadong，
嗨，
恭喜你打赢了这场比赛，你准备怎么庆祝呢？
我想出去跟朋友喝点。
I want to drink a little bit with my friend.
啤酒
Yeah.
，Good choice。
Beer,
yeah. 亚东，我有一个问题，就是你进去打这场比赛的时候，你有想过你会终结它吗？这是你计划的一部分吗？
我在平时训练的时候，我就练了很多的这种就是迎击，还有就是很多针对他做的一些技术训练，所以这场比赛我其实比较有信心的拿下他但是我没有想就是第二回合那么快就 KO 他。
I did a lot of counterpunching training, but I didn't expect the knockout to be happening that fast in the second round.
恭喜你 ，Congratulations。
Is that it?
So.
That's it for Song Yadong at the Apex in Las Vegas. The press conference for the winner over Julio Arce by TKO, head kick and punches. Miguel Baeza. Wait a second. They have this wrong. It was Chaos who won that fight, right, Jeff? Yes, they had it backwards on the results page for a second there. Chaos Williams, TKO punches, 3 minutes, round 3 rather, 1 minute and 2 seconds. Jim Grieshaber, Jeff Cain, call me Grease, call him Cain on MMA Weekly. We're live for UFC Fight Night. Still inching our way closer to the main event. A lot of people can't wait to see the striking of Yair Rodríguez, dizzying, jumping, moving all over the place. That win over the zombie in the last second. You never know what's going to happen with Yair. El Pantera and Max Holloway looking to fight his way back up for another title shot against Volkanovski or whoever else it's going to be at that point in time. And a lot of people thought he won that second fight. All right, Jeff, before we went back to the podium, we were talking about the rankings in the lightweight division, which now that this will be attempt number 3. So I don't want to miss that and let you get right back to that. Jeff, you're muted.
Hang on, I was doing the update on the results and then trying to keep up with the ranking conversation at the same time. I apologize, Jim. I'm back. Yeah, the rankings, after you said that, I remembered that the rankings were kind of crazy. I have Islam at 5 on my personal rankings. I kept Chandler in front of him based on Chandler's resume in Bellator and the people that he's beaten. And I don't feel like Islam has a quality. I don't think that Dan Hooker, is up there yet. But I understand after looking at the rankings how somebody would put him at 4 and you would put him in front of Chandler because of the back-to-back losses. So,
see, I don't.
It is what it is, but it's a matter of timing. It's a matter of timing in that division.
How do you put him above Chandler? How do you put him above RDA? I don't know how you put him above Chandler when Chandler's losses were in a title fight and to Gaethje, who's is number 1 after number 2. But I don't know. I don't understand that. I get it, but I get the Islam hype train, but I wouldn't put him above Chandler. But I guess I'm splitting hairs considering he's at 4 and Chandler's at 5 and 2 losses in a row are 2 losses in a row. I understand that too, right? I mean, he still dropped 2 in a row.
Yeah, he's still 0-2, or no, he's actually 1-2 in the UFC. I apologize.
Right.
But yeah, man. I mean, when you go back down here and you look at it, Dos Anjos is lost, 4 of his last 6 fights. He's coming off a split decision win over Paul Felder. So I totally understand that part of it.
And a last second Paul Felder too. Last second fill-in Paul Felder.
Yeah. So it's the Chandler thing that's debatable. Do you put him in front of Chandler? And I did not. Although I understand how you could. I remember, like I said, after you said that the lightweight division was kind of messed up. It took me a minute to kind of sort it out. And then I decided not to do it because I feel like Chandler's body of work is better than Islam's. And Islam might just be the flavor of the month right now until he runs into somebody in the top 5, And so I want to see what he does before I look. If Islam comes out and beats somebody in the top 5, I'm not saying that I won't put him at number 2. Or hell, if it's that impressive, depending on the opponent, he could jump way up there. But right now,
I was going to say make him fight Dariush. Right? But Dariush, Dana had that little grin on his face. I think Dariush is going to be the guy who weighs in for Poirier and Oliveira to be that like Yuri just did for Blachowicz and Glover. He'll be the third guy there, like Chandler was for Khabib and Gaethje.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that Dana, all but said it, right? His smile said it all. And rightfully so. Dariush is the one that should be doing that. So I agree with that 100%. Give that guy, because Poirier's in the fight. Gaethje just had a fight, and so Dariush should weigh in. And if Gaethje's fight were quick, I would say something different. But that fight was a war. Both those dudes need to take some time off, let the noodle heal a little bit. My God, was that a war?
And don't miss weight when you're only there to make weight. Vicente Luque. Don't miss weight when you got one thing to do. You still pay.
Dana didn't even know. I mean, those were good questions, because does he get paid? Or if you miss weight, you lose 30% of your purse. Well, he didn't even have a fight purse. So what do you do?
Right.
I thought that was, I want to know from the UFC PR how to handle that situation. Is it he's not really weighing in? He doesn't have a bout agreement, first of all, really, right? He's the backup guy.
Right.
And so I don't know. It sounded like Dana kind of alluded to, we paid him. He didn't get fined. He should have made weight.
I think Islam should fight Dariush if Dariush doesn't fight in that fight. I think that should be next for Islam. Islam and Dariush. Dariush number 3, Islam number 4. This might make way too much sense for the powers that be. And then the other fight I really want to see in that division, I want to see Conor fight Ferguson. I think Conor needs another fight like Cowboy Cerrone, where they feel like they're going to get him a win. He can't be a number 9 ranked fighter. I mean, he could be and just get a title shot. But if Poirier loses, he'll fight him off that loss, and then maybe that'll jump him up if he wins. But I want to see Conor have to win at least one more fight against another ranked opponent. And Tony's 2 spots ahead of him. I think Conor decimates Tony. That might be something where Tony Ferguson suffers irreparable damage if he fights Conor McGregor, because look what Gaethje did to him. And, I hate to see Tony do that. But the fans would love that, man. Conor and Kukui would be a huge, huge fight to make for the fans. I would love to see that.
It's risky. It's risky to put Conor in there like that, because Ferguson can absolutely tap Conor out. And he might be able to beat him on the feet. I mean, who knows? He's got to have a reach advantage, and
right.
Tony has taken all this time off now, which he needed to. I think that's what he needed to do. Reinvent yourself a little bit. Sharpen some tools. Let the brain heal. Relax. That you don't have to conquer the world in one day. Tony's a different cat, though. Tony doesn't look great. I'll fully admit to that. Tony didn't look great this last several outings.
Right.
But I still think that's risky. I'm looking at. Let me pull it back up. So we're talking about Conor. Who do you give Conor?
Ferguson.
I mean, I think that Chandler and Gaethje is way too dangerous of fights for him. Way too dangerous.
Right.
I think the best case scenario is that Carlos Oliveira defends his title, and then it's simple. You just do Poirier and Conor again, and then write off the leg break as if it never happened. But if Dustin wins, then man, we're going to have to get Conor a fight. Dan Hooker, potentially, but I think that's too damn dangerous. I think it's too dangerous.
I'd rather see him fight Tony. Tony's like a Cowboy Cerrone fight, a step above, admittedly, But for Conor, he needs another Cowboy Cerrone. He needs another win. He needs an opponent. And I hate to disrespect Tony Ferguson like this. The taste in my mouth is vile right now with these words that are actually leaving. But he's not the same Tony Ferguson. He hasn't won a round in forever. He hasn't looked good. Maybe he could still dial up that greatness. It's unfortunate that he never fought Khabib. But I think at this stage of his career, I'm not going to compare him to what Cowboy was when Conor fought Cowboy, but maybe a level or two up. And I just think that I don't want to call it an easy win because, again, I hate to disrespect Tony. There's no way he deserves that. But that would be the fight if you want to get Conor a win or give him the best chance to get a win to bump him back up to where you can put him against the top 5 guy. Tony Ferguson's the only one. Unless you do Chandler. But like you said, that's really risky for Conor because Chandler could knock his ass out real quick, and there goes Conor forever.
And he can take him down. And Chandler's smart. Chandler's not dumb. Chandler doesn't approach the fight game like a crazy person.
Nope, and he's 1-2 on back-to-back losses. He's going to do what he can to win. He has to.
Yeah, he knows where he has the advantage. With Gaethje, he knew Gaethje was going to stand in front of him. And look, in the first round, I thought Gaethje was about to be out of there. I thought Chandler was about to put Gaethje out of there. And Gaethje probably should have changed levels and took him down and then finished him with elbows on the ground right then and there. And I think if he goes back, and you heard Chandler say that he made some questionable decisions in that fight. And I think decisions that you don't see Michael Chandler make in Bellator, he would change levels and took Gaethje down. Yeah, and I think the pressure, and he wants to impress the UFCs. He's new. I don't know what it is, man, but yeah, ego and pressure. And Gaethje's just a zombie, man. He goes into zombie mode. I don't know what you got to hit that guy with to knock him completely out. But more than what Michael Chandler has, apparently.
You got right now, Jeff, Felicia Spencer and Leah Letson in the division that doesn't exist with Amanda Nunes as the champion at women's featherweight. There are no rankings. You look underneath her as the champion, and there aren't enough fighters to even have rankings at women's featherweight, which probably shouldn't be a division right now. But we don't need to go there. We're talking about the lightweight division, guys, and I want to see Gaethje get the next shot. I'd like to see Dariush fight Islam. Maybe Chandler gets an RDA. And Conor gets a Ferguson. Are you okay with that, Jeff? Conor Ferguson, Chandler RDA, Islam Dariush, Gaethje gets the winner of Poirier Oliveira. That would be what I would do. Seems really cut and dry to me.
I mean, we're gonna see. I mean, Conor's gonna talk and he's gonna get in an argument with somebody, and then that's gonna up pay-per-view points and up interest. And the UFC has all these people on this. I don't know if people realize that behind the scenes, man. They're looking at numbers. They're looking at social media imprints. They're looking at what's the buzz. They put fillers out there, right? They put little fillers out there just to see what the reaction is, and they'd be like, "Oh shit, nope, don't do that." Put another filler out. Oh, they bid on that one. Let's put that fight together. The UFC's smart about what they do. They're in the business of making money, and I think that. Yep. Yeah. I think that if Poirier wins. Then Poirier loses. It's a no-brainer to me. We're doing Poirier 4, Conor Poirier 4, which Conor shouldn't do. My advice to Conor is do not take one of those fights. Absolutely take a Tony Ferguson or lower. It doesn't matter. You're Conor McGregor. You can fight anybody in that division. You're going to sell the pay-per-view and get a warm-up fight. Yes. How many people would tune in to watch Conor McGregor kick the shit out of me? Everyone, right? Everyone. The same amount of people. I mean, you could put the old guy from the bar in there, Jeff. You could slap him around again. He'd do a million buys. But what's interesting? So hopefully Conor knows that.
Diaz 3, but they know they have Diaz 3 in their back pocket. They don't need to do it now, unless you think Nate might bolt and never fight in the UFC again with one fight left on his deal. These girls are going at it, by the way. Felicia Spencer is pounding on Leah Letson. But when I look at the fight that I would want to see Conor fight the most, Gaethje would probably be number 1. Number 2, and they're going at it right now. Let's not forget, Conor's fine at 170. Street Jesus against the Notorious. I think that would be. Oh, can you just imagine Conor against Masvidal? That would be
Conor.
Yeah.
If Conor's listening to this, and I doubt he is, but you never know. Maybe somebody from Ireland will pick this up. You fight that at a catch weight of 160. You do not take that fight at 170. You make.
There's no way Masvidal does that. You think Masvidal does that? Well,
then Masvidal doesn't get red panty night. Yeah,
for the payday. But Masvidal's got his own red panty nights. I mean, he's a pretty big draw. But I would. That's the thing is, like, Conor might say, "I don't care about any other belt. I want the BMF belt." Right? And Jorge's not the BMF anymore because Kamaru's beaten him twice, but he still technically never had another BMF, and he never defended the BMF belt. So Conor and Masvidal for the BMF belt, which isn't a legitimate belt, but no one cares, and I don't care anymore because I'm desensitized to it, to the legitimacy.
No belts are legitimate anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, who cares? It's the BMF belt. It's silver. Yeah. Instead of The Rock this time, maybe, who knows? Maybe you have like Drake put the belt on the winner or something. I mean, why not? You know? You've had Halle Berry, you've had The Rock.
Have anybody do, yeah. But I think that's a good fight. That fight will sell. What worries me about that fight, and I think Conor McGregor is a better fighter overall than Masvidal, skill set.
Me too. Me too.
But here's my thing on it. Conor McGregor does not carry the knockout power at 155 that he did at 145. There's no way he carries it to 170. And Masvidal,
no, he couldn't finish Diaz at 170. He pounded Diaz twice in both those fights and couldn't get him out of there. You're right.
It worries me. It worries me because Masvidal, first of all, can take a lot of damage even from 170. You know, he can take damage from the 170 guys. Yes, I know Usman knocked him out, of course, but anybody lands that right hand that cleanly on anybody, you're going to sleep. I just feel like he'll have a hard time getting Masvidal out of there at 170, and Jorge is tough. And Jorge won't have any qualms about taking him down either. You know,
and Jorge's he could finish Conor.
Yeah. I think I like that fight, though. I like that fight. I do. But if Conor's really wanting to get back to the lightweight championship, and that's something he's going to have to sit down and really ponder on, I think his bigger fights are the Diaz and the Masvidals and not so much the Poirier stuff. That's just my opinion. And there's no ego lost if you lose to welterweights, you know, and then kind of leaves the lightweight still on the table. Or you can do it in reverse, you know, and try to do the lightweight thing and still have those. I just think that he needs to decide whether or not he wants to fight for the lightweight title. Because the worst case scenario,
Masvidal was a lightweight for a long time.
Yeah. Because Conor, I don't see Conor being around that much longer. I just don't. Winning, you know, even if he wins. I mean, let's say best case scenario, he comes back and knocks out Poirier for the title, right? Well, there's going to be another fight, right? There's no way we end it there. Yeah. And then.
Has anybody ever fought anybody else 4 times? Has there ever been a 4th fight between anybody?
Yeah, Mike Van Arsdale, somebody. It's a long time ago, and it was an anomaly, and maybe it was only 4 fights. I don't know about 5, Jim. That's a good question. I do not know about that. I do not. That's a lot of damn fights to fight people.
What would it be? Equology? Would the 4th be equology? Or the 5th
I don't even know
what would the 5th one be?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll just do it on May 5th and call it Cinco de Mayo. Let them go at it.
The syncology between Poirier and McGregor.
Yeah, but we can see that. I mean, I could see. I'd pay to watch Amanda fight Valentina 3 more times. You know, I mean, there's certain fights that I don't mind. That,
how about best out of 3 on the same night?
Oh, I'm all for that, but I don't know, man. You gotta knock them down to 10-minute rounds or 10-minute fights, 2 5-minute rounds.
I just want no time clock. That's what I want.
Yeah,
no
the
clock.
rules change. Yeah, rules mean everything, though. Like, you know, the landscape of the UFC would look vastly different if it were pride rounds, 10-minute first rounds.
Oh, that's incredible.
And then a 5-minute second round. You know,
just think about that for 1 second, man. A 10-minute round. Are you? Oh my God, I love Pride.
Momentum swings quick, right?
There's a place in my heart for Pride and everyone who fought there that no other organization could ever touch, man. There's a place in my heart for Pride that I just can't. I mean, you know, Jeff, you have the same thing.
I mean,
it's just that was the greatest MMA we have ever seen in my mind because it was just such high level and the sport was still so new. And your names who fought there, and when Liddell went over there, and I mean, it's oh my God, unbelievable.
Well, with a 10-minute first round, you might have Nate and Nick Diaz, champions of 3 divisions in the UFC, just waiting to see, you know. And then Colby, you know, that would help Colby out a lot. Covington, I mean, you know, 10-minute first round. Oh my God. Now,
hey, we've been talking about this. Go ahead, Jeff. I'm sorry. Oh yeah, in 10-minute round, Colby. Oh my God, yeah, or Usman for that matter.
Yeah, certain people would change the whole dynamic. And
could you imagine Khabib in a 10-minute round?
Yeah, no, see, yeah, I don't want to be in a 1-minute round with Khabib, but yeah,
10 minutes of Khabib. Oh my God.
He's going to finish most people. But then there's also fights where, I don't know. Khabib, we can get in that argument. Khabib left a lot to be desired on his feet. I'll say that.
Yeah, he did.
Now, they could say he dropped Conor. Yeah, when Conor's hands are down, thinking he's going to get taken down, man. That's what wrestlers do. They threat the takedown and then, bomb, hit you with a right hand and you go to sleep or get knocked on your ass. I just don't like that argument. Like, whenever I say Khabib left a lot to be desired with the striking, then people are like, he dropped Conor. I'm like, yeah, man. I mean, I could drop Conor too if he's going to put his hands down by his waist and just stick his head out to me.
Yeah, defending a takedown, exactly.
And so I just didn't feel he wasn't defending a takedown, but Conor never thought for a.
No, he was looking for a takedown though. He's always in the back of his mind. He's always there wasn't a takedown happening in the moment, but in his head he's thinking takedown. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, and he's not thinking left hand down the middle. He's just not. And so that's what that come down to. But I'll say that about Khabib is that his striking was good enough to where his threat, his grappling ability, it was good enough to close the distance and was good enough to keep people honest because he didn't lose fight striking. There was a couple of fights where I thought he was about to get clipped.
And he was getting a lot better on the feet when he retired. His striking in the Gaethje fight was pretty damn good. And it was the highest level we had ever seen out of Khabib. And, let's not forget all those years at AKA. He's a wrestler, of course, and a grappler, but all those years at a kickboxing academy, AKA, you know what I mean? But I'll real quick, I just want to let everybody know what's going on. Leah Letson has got to be questioning her life choices right now because Felicia Spencer's just pounding the crap out of her. I mean, the significant strikes are literally triple, and the takedowns, violent, up against the fence the whole time. She is being mauled in there. It's like someone got thrown into the tiger pen at the zoo. I mean, just a long night so far for Leah Letson after 2 rounds against Felicia Spencer as we get you closer to Max Holloway and Yair Rodríguez here on MMA Weekly. All right, Jeff, I have to ask you this, man. We talked about the lightweight division. Do you have any other, like a last thought on the lightweights before? I want to move on to welterweight and talk about what's going on there with the Edwards fight and, the possibility will it be Khamzat Chimaev, who's ranked 10th now? Shouldn't Luque get that fight? We just got Wonderboy Thompson booked a fight against Bilal Muhammad. Chiesa's got a fight next week against the number 14 ranked fighter in the division, and that is, you can't see about Sean Brady. That's coming up next week, and that's a risky fight for Chiesa. But any final thoughts on 55 before we move on?
No, I mean, we're all waiting for the Poirier Oliveira fight, and then some things will become more clear after that. And then we're waiting to see Conor's time frame to return, because while he is recovering, he's not in training camp right now. We don't know how well that leg's going to hold up under high volume. It's going to take him a while to kick with it and all that. All that stuff's yet to be determined. He is faster than pace, but like I said, we got to wait and see when Conor's return date's going to be. And then we got to see if Islam wins another fight, though. That's what's crazy about it. If Islam wins another fight, he could leapfrog people. He could absolutely leapfrog people. So in Khamzat, because we're going to switch divisions now, is an interesting figure too, man. But I don't know that welterweight division's gotten crazy now, Jim. All of a sudden, it's gotten nuts. There's fights all over the place, and it's hard to say how that division's going to shake out.
Yeah, it really is, but it's fun breaking it down with you, especially on a slow developing fight card. But Leah Letson actually has top position now on Felicia Spencer. Maybe that was her game plan. Let her punch herself out and wear herself out, because she absorbed tremendous punishment. And so I love watching it on ESPN Plus because I can just turn my phone like this and I can look at the stats of this fight. And it's a 163-94 total strikes, 69-30 significant, 3 takedowns to 1. 857 ground control to 103. A dominating performance so far for Felicia Spencer, who now is on the back of Leah Letson, and they're up against the cage again, where Letson's been for most of this fight.
She just she just reversed her. She just reversed her, and she's got her 346.
Okay, I'm at 326, so I'm a little ahead of you.
Okay. Wow, you keep moving. You were behind me, now you're ahead of me. But yeah, she just reversed her on the ground. That was lazy top game from Letson. She got reversed, and now she's back to where she was in the other 2 rounds, getting pounded against the cage.
I got to get a ring light, guys. I'm sorry, my lighting's crappy in my new setup. I got to fix this, and I will soon. 3 minutes left in the fight, but we move on to 170, Jeff, and what's going on there with Masvidal dropping out of the fight with Leon Edwards. He's ranked number 3. That was more for the 3-piece in the soda that was going to sell. Masvidal's a name. Edwards already has the win over Nate and a win over Jorge. To me, he needs a legitimate win over a title contender to be the title contender. He's the guy who Usman beat him a long time ago. So he's kind of recycled now. He's done his time. But Luque would be the guy that I'd move up there. Khamzat's lobbying for it. Everybody seems to want to see Khamzat move up from number 10 to fight number 3 Leon Edwards. But if I'm Leon Edwards, there's no way on God's green earth I take that fight. Right now, I didn't work that hard to get up to number 3, miss all that time to have Khamzat come in and take it from me. And Khamzat's a beast. I wouldn't take the fight if I'm Leon Edwards. What I would take is Vicente Luque, because then you have 3 and 4. So no Masvidal. That has to be the fight, right? Edwards Luque coming up at UFC 211.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do right there. No, I don't take a fight with the number 10th ranked guy. Hell no. Not
would you take the Luque fight if you're Edwards, and would you like to see that as a fan? You would think that'd be the one they'd make, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel like Edwards has much of a choice at that point. I mean, I think you have choices when you're coming at me with a guy that's ranked 7 spots below me. I'm be like, hell no. But you come at me with the 4th ranked guy, the reasons for turning it down become small, you know.
Yep.
And so I think that he has to take that fight. But it's going to be
unless you
interesting
bump
because I
Burns
think
in
that
there.
they could do. Yes, unless
he's
you
number
put Burns
2
in there. Yes, and I think it's going to be interesting with what they're going to do with Kobe, because now that Masvidal's out of that fight, that's a fun fight.
Oh,
That's both.
Who would you rather see
Masvidal
Masvidal fight, Colby or Conor?
Well, I think that we could do Kobe before Conor's ready. I'd rather see Jorge and Colby fight. They're former
That'd be
roommates,
amazing.
former teammates. They don't like each other. They hate each other. The smack talk would be friggin' nuts. Just think about the suits for a minute. You know,
I almost think that's why Masvidal dropped out of this fight. I'm not accusing him. You know what? That's shitty. Let me back that up.
Well, that's what Kobe planted
the timing
seed.
and the luck of the situation is Edwards is not going to fight Masvidal now. Let's just put it that way. Ain't happening.
No, he is not. Edwards is going to have to fight a tougher opponent, and possibly Masvidal is going to have to fight a tougher opponent. I think that's the fight the UFC does. It's a no-brainer. Fell in your lap. You know, Kobe and Masvidal do it. And
everybody else has a fight,
good.
Jeff. Muhammad's fighting Wonder Boy. Magny doesn't have a fight at number 8. I'm going top 10. Khamzat's 10. Bilal's 9. He's fighting Wonder Boy, who's number 5. That's coming up. Magny's 8. He doesn't have a fight. Mr. Irrelevant. Sorry, love you, Neil, but not right now. Masvidal's out with the injury. And then you have Chiesa fighting Sean Brady next week. So all that's left are 4 and 3. Actually, 4, 3, and 2. Luque, Edwards, Burns. Colby's on the shelf for a while after the Kamaru fight, and you got to think Colby will fight Masvidal. So that leaves Edwards, Luque, and Burns, and Khamzat. So if I'm Burns, if I'm Edwards, I do not fight Khamzat. Maybe it's Luque who fights Khamzat. I do not want to see them bump Khamzat up to fight Edwards here. I don't know if I would want to see Edwards fight Burns or Edwards fight Luque, but I think I wouldn't mind seeing Edwards and Burns with the winner getting Kamaru, but the only difference there is Luque hasn't had a title shot yet. So I go Luque, Edwards, and then the winner fights Kamaru and put Burns up next after that. I don't know. They have options. Are they coming for you, Jeff, or is that me?
God, I hope they're coming for me.
Is that a Kentucky siren?
Yeah, I hope they're coming. Come and get me out of here.
Someone stole some moonshine.
Yeah, it's an interesting, like I said, it's an interesting division because I don't know where it's all going to fall. You know, it's I think that Kobe and Masvidal seems like a no-brainer to me. But I don't know, like, as far as the UFC is concerned, this is what I'm saying. Gilbert Burns, Leon Edwards, and Luque are similarly marketable. Like, you know, they're none of those are stars. But none of them are nobodies either. And so I don't care. I don't feel like the UFC gives a shit which one of those 3 wins or loses. You know what I mean?
Right.
And they don't really care anyway until it comes to, like, the Conors of the world and the Rondas. Then they're like, And they don't care then. It's a financial deal. You know which fighter is going to win and going to make the most money and which one's not. And that's why Khamzat. So they'll definitely be putting him up. But I don't want to see Khamzat jump up in there. You know, if you're going to make somebody fight Khamzat, it should be Luque. He's the lowest ranked of the 3 that we're talking about at the top. But I don't like jumping him along. But I know the UFC likes to push people along fast, right? I mean, for multiple reasons.
Luque deserves it, though.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think
Luque and Edwards.
if he can. Yeah.
Luque is the only
If he
guy
can
who
get-
hasn't fought Kamaru besides Wonderboy. Luque and Wonderboy are the only, and Kamzat obviously, but none of those guys have
Yeah.
fought. It's only he's pulling a Valentina / Amanda and getting and now Edwards was a long time ago, so he might be next in line. Burns has to work his way back a little bit. Maybe you go Luque, Edwards with the winner fighting Burns and the winner of that fighting Kamaru, or Luque Edwards with the winner just jumping right to Kamaru. Kamaru says he's going to take some time off. That factors in, but I mean, you got a lot of options there. Meanwhile, Jeff, Felicia Spencer by TKO at 4:25 of the third round, elbows and punches over Leah Letson. So that makes it 3 in a row to start the main card. Song Yadong, TKO over Julio Arce, round 2, 135. Chaos Williams, TKO over Miguel Baeza, round 3 at 1:02. We're waiting for Chaos to come to the press room. And now Leah Letson's night mercifully comes to an end. She put up a hell of a fight, but she was beaten half to death by Felicia Spencer. And now we get to the co-main at heavyweight, Big Ben Rothwell against Marcos Rogerio de Lima.
Yeah, this shouldn't last long, or you wouldn't think so on paper. But who knows? None of the fights have lasted all that long, have they, on the main card?
Right? No. This is crazy, man, when you think about it. This is crazy. This welterweight division is, there's so much. Of this fight, Jeff, this time was round
425 was for her. Thank you. That's what I was looking for.
Yep. Felicia Spencer by TKO. 3 TKOs in a row. None of them looking like a knockout of the night contender, though. That still seems wide open. Although Chaos was pretty damn chaotic. 113 significant strikes, 192 clinch strikes, and 4 takedowns for Felicia Spencer. That's a pretty good night's work.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Felicia looked good. She looked good tonight. And Letson did not. Letson showed her toughness, but that was about it, man. She had her moments where she had got top control, but then couldn't maintain it. This is going to be interesting. People in the chat have been making their main pick or picks for the main card or the main event, rather. Damn, if I could talk. Look at
the chat.
Look at Max Holloway.
Who do you
with
have?
all that
People
hair,
in the
man.
chat.
It's weird.
I know it's hard getting used to the blessing. I'll say this: he's one of the nicest dudes. Both these guys are. But I ran into Max. I think it was March of last year, right before the pandemic shut the whole world down. He was playing craps at the Aria, and I went up. I'm like, Blessed Express, and we just started talking for a few minutes. And just a super cool, super nice guy. And I've had Yair actually come into the radio station a couple of times over the years and do some interviews and gotten to know him. And 2 really good guys, 2 really class acts. But I will say this, Jeff, an enormous opportunity for El Pantera, Yair Rodríguez, to be on the shelf for 2 years, no fights in 2 years, and be suspended for 6 months, and to come back in and to still, obviously by the luck of the draw or the grace of God or whatever you want to call it, to still be ranked number 3 when you haven't fought in 2 years. You got the zombie behind him, you got Calvin Kattar. It gets a little thin, so he's still ranked at number 3 behind Brian Ortega. And this is a golden opportunity. If he beats Max Holloway, and he's certainly capable of it, if he beats Max Holloway, Pantera comes off a 2-year hiatus right into the middle of the title picture at 145. I mean, right in the middle of it.
He'll move into the number 1 contender spot. Because Max isn't going to drop below Ortega, but Yair has to go in front of Max. So Yair jumps to number 1.
Isn't that crazy though? You haven't fought in 2 years, Jeff, and you're right there. You have, 2 years is a long time. Yeah.
I mean, but in that time, Ortega's come and gone. He's had his shot. You know what I mean? There's been guys. But yes, it's weird that he didn't drop. But whenever you look at like from 6, 7, and 8 in that division, the cliff drops pretty significantly, in my opinion. I'm not saying that it's a shallow division because the top of it is friggin' stacked. But like I said, when you get down there to 8, 9, and 10 and below, it's like, okay, all interchangeable names to me as far as, relevance. Anyway,
the dominoes are going to fall after this one, Jeff, though, because we're going to find out if Max wins this fight, does he go right up to another title shot? Or if Yair wins, does he get a title shot? Or no matter who wins, does Dana give Henry Cejudo his wish and let Triple C legitimately become Triple C in the UFC? I mean, think about that. This would be the first 3-division champ. Max has already lost to him twice. Yair's been out for 2 years. Why not give Henry Cejudo a chance? Why not give him the shot?
Because it's about making money. And Cejudo is irrelevant right now. He hasn't had a fight in forever. People probably don't even remember what divisions he held the belt in. Yeah,
he's trying his best. He's working out with John Jones. He's got the cringe in full effect. He's doing the show with the schmo. He's doing the best he can.
He's trying. He's doing. Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that. I just don't see Dana doing that.
He's not moving the needle. Henry doesn't move the needle like Henry thinks he moves the needle. I love him to death. I've known him forever, but he does not move the needle anywhere near where he thinks he moves.
He needed more fights. He needed more fights. He needed to defend the belt a couple times, and then we'd have seen if his popularity would have gained. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And by the way, I just want to mention real quick, Jeff.
Go ahead.
Just real quick about Henry. I just want to make a quick point. Henry's sister, Gloria, his older sister, who I've known a long time. I've known the family. She just revealed publicly that she was diagnosed with a carcinoma like cancer and was given like 6 to 8 months to live. So I just want to send a shout out to Gloria Cejudo and the Cejudo family and say, we're all thinking about you, Gloria. We're all praying for you. And, sometimes real life takes over, Jeff. And that's something that we don't like to see. Wow, is this Felicia Spencer already?
Wow.
She's not playing around. This is the fastest I've ever seen someone go to the podium. In Vegas, to Vegas we go. Felicia Spencer, victorious over Leah Letson, TKO in round number 3. Here she is on MMA Weekly.
Much as I don't want to be in, a war, I'd much rather dominate.
Well, with her being gone for so long, I know we talked about this at Media Day, it was hard probably for you to kind of know what to expect. But was there anything that kind of surprised you about her?
Not really anything surprising. I was just open-ended with what she would come with. There was definitely still some similarities. It's not like she became a different person, So, but again, like I mentioned I think in the media, it was more me just focused on what I wanted to do, and I think I did a pretty decent job of just implementing what I wanted to do without really having much regard for what she wanted to do.
I think some people online were talking about how they felt like the fight probably should have been stopped a bit sooner than it was. Did you feel like that, or did you kind of still feel her fighting back?
Yeah, and there wasn't really a point where I really thought about that, but I'm just waiting for the ref to say stop. So maybe like there was a moment where the ref warned her to keep fighting, but then she kind of like, I had her like wrist kind of behind her back when he said that, but then she kind of wiggled out of it. So I was like, game on. So yeah, I was just waiting for the ref to say stop. So yeah, I have to go back and watch.
And how soon do you want to get back in there?
I don't know. I'm just gonna have to. I really don't give it much thought more than a minute after the fight. So yeah, I'm just gonna have to take a little time off and evaluate where I'm at and see what's going on.
Is that the same answer for an opponent, or do you have somebody in mind that you'd like to fight next?
I don't. Yeah, I wish. I expected to fight Leah at some point, and she's checked off the list, and I'm happy with that performance overall, and I'm excited about the division. I'm glad that there are things rolling, so it'll be fun to see what happens with the division.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Show over here. Some of the unofficial stats for your performance. You had 113 significant strikes and 193 strikes in the clinch, which I believe are both personal records for you in a fight. So what's your reaction to setting personal bests in there?
Well, that's a good night at the office, I guess. Yeah, I'm happy I was able to bring what I wanted to, which is just the most intense version of myself that I've ever been. So I feel like I pushed the pace more than normal, and still probably could have threw a few more in there, but maybe next time.
And I think it was the third round. She took you down. She shot him for a takedown. Did that catch you by surprise, or was it just she caught you out of place and just took advantage of it?
It was a little bit surprising, but again, I've shown in some past fights that on my back I haven't always been very aggressive. So hopefully I've kind of put that, to rest in people's mind that I can work from my back also. So yeah, she probably just didn't want to be up against the fence anymore, which I don't blame her.
And this might be a moot point because she's not in the UFC, but a lot of people online are saying that if the UFC signs Kayla Harrison, they wouldn't mind seeing you welcome her into the UFC if Amanda is
That's
doing
a fun
her thing.
fight. Yeah, I mean, whatever Kayla Harrison thinks is best for her career, whether it's here or wherever her heart desires. There are a lot of fun fights out there for her, and I'm glad that there's so much attention on her because, she's bringing the attention to the division. So that's, even though she's fighting at lightweight right now, but same kind of in everyone's mind. So I'm really happy for her and excited to see what she chooses to do, for sure.
Finally, what were your thought process in your walkout song?
Honestly, it kind of just came full circle for me because that was my pro debut walkout song from Invicta, and it's kind of just a playful. Like I used to always walk out to Queen. I've only strayed one time, and it's just kind of like I don't even listen to that much Queen on my own, but just whenever the songs play, it just makes me feel like just playful enough. Like TJ DeSantis put the words in my mouth. It's like a calculated version of myself. I just feel like in the zone when Queen is playing whatever the song, and that was just a fun one to bring back. Thank you, guys.
That ended fast. I was mid-bite on a scoop full of granola. And speaking of ending fast, at 4:26 of round number 1, Ben Rothwell goes to sleep. Marcos Rogerio de Lima knocks out Ben Rothwell with a big-time right hand, sent him stumbling into the cage, then just swarmed him with combos, throwing bomb after bomb. And, Big Ben just trying to get away from it, Jeff, and trying to stumble past it, just eating shot after shot. And looking at the replay here, Rogerio de Lima threw a ton of punches at Ben Rothwell, and then eventually a left-right combo lands to each side of his jaw. Rothwell falls down, and then Herb Dean finally stops it after he realizes he's pretty much a corpse at that point. So a ton of punishment
he tried
out in a very short time by Marcos Rogerio de Lima.
It was a weird ending because Herb Dean, when Ben Rothwell went limp, Herb stepped in to stop it, but Ben actually changes levels and gets a takedown, and Herb stopped it. But Ben did not argue it or anything. He was out. There's no question about it. But that was an interesting little stoppage right there. It should have been stopped. So he was put that out there right there. Ben Rothwell was out on his feet twice right there during that exchange. He just popped back awake and changed levels. Crazy stoppage. But Ben's nose is all bloodied up.
That's a lot of punches to land in a short amount of time. So I'm looking at the numbers here. The strikes, and Rothwell didn't land one, but 12 total strikes. All of them were significant. 9 of them were to the head. And the other 9 headshots, all significant, finishing Ben Rothwell at 4:26 of round number 1. Normally you don't see that many shots in a heavyweight fight. For Rothwell to hold on that long, but that combination, excuse me, Jeff, that combination that finished him was devastating. The last 2.
Yeah. When he landed that right hand that sent Rothwell backpedaling into the cage, he just unloaded, let everything go, and ended up getting the finish. But yeah, man, that was it's heavyweights. It's a game you play in the heavyweight division. It can end quick. But yeah, that was kind of strange the way Rothwell woke back up for the third time. He got a takedown. I don't want to say he got a takedown. He technically did after the fight was over, but his opponent had stopped fighting.
Think about it for 1 second. This is 4 in a row to start the main card. And, just Song Yadong, Chaos Williams, Felicia Spencer. We still haven't seen Chaos Williams at the podium. I don't know if we missed him or if he just hasn't come yet, but Felicia Spencer came right out. And I don't know, would Chaos have had to go to the doctor? So this is another TKO. Official time is 32 seconds for your winner, Marcos Rogerio de Lima. So that is a huge early KO. So an easy night, so to speak, at the office for him in there with Bisping right now. So Yadong, Chaos Williams, Song Yadong, Chaos Williams, Felicia Spencer, Marcos Rogerio de Lima, all with TKOs. And just like that, Jeff, we're just moments away from that main event.
Yeah, Chaos might have had to go do an interview with the big ESPN network, because that was a huge knockout. And then there's a lot of reasons, man. I don't know what it could be. Maybe he had to go get something checked out, or maybe he just wanted to shower, or maybe he's one of the random drug tests for this card. He's got to go back there and pee in a cup. But either way, we have not seen Chaos after that big knockout. And I don't think that we'll see him come running back here real quick, the winner of this fight. I don't know. I'm just shocked that Felicia Smith, it's like she left the octagon and ran straight back to the podium. That was the craziest thing I've ever seen. I've never seen that before. I'll say that, Jim. In all the years covering the sport, I've never seen someone take the podium so damn fast after a fight.
Maybe she had to leave or go somewhere. Or who knows? I mean, that was fast though. That was really fast, and that was a brutal night for Leah Letson and Felicia Spencer. One of the things that I thought was pretty telling, they asked her about Kayla Harrison possibly joining the UFC, and she's a free agent right now. She's done really well in PFL. She's made a ton of money. Let's be honest, there's no real challenge for her there. There hasn't been. There won't be ever in PFL. Barely anything in Bellator, although Cyborg makes a lot of sense, and Bellator has probably got better 45ers overall than the UFC, which might be the only division they have better than the UFC. But as far as the UFC's featherweight division, if Kayla comes and fights at 45, people were talking about maybe Spencer being the one to welcome her in. That would not be an easy fight for Kayla Harrison. It'd be a dogfight from day one in the UFC, and I wouldn't mind seeing Spencer be the one to welcome her in.
Yeah, I don't know. I want to see what Harrison looks like at 145 because she fights at 155, and she's just making easy money in PFL. You know, the last 2 seasons. That's going to be an interesting deal. Way to put it. It's going to be an interesting deal because she will make more money in Bellator or the UFC. But she made great money in the PFL. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying.
Is she going to make more than $1 million? Because she won $1 million 2 years in a row.
She'll make more than $1 million to fight Amanda, or more than $1 million to fight Cyborg in that one fight.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Maybe $4 million even.
Yeah, it just all depends. But I want to see her what she looks like at 145. And then we'll see. I don't think that anybody who plans to take Harrison down and win that way is going to have effective game plan. That's my opinion on that. But we'll see. We'll see, man. I honestly think my gut feeling, and I'm not basing this on shit, but my gut feeling, I think she's going to end up in Bellator because I don't think the UFC cares to do a deep dive in the women's 145 division. There's not rankings there. They don't need it. Amanda's still a 2-division champion. She's still.
They don't want her to fight Amanda. The Dan Lambert has come out and said no way. They train together. They're friends at American Top Team. I don't think that Amanda fight is going to have that. I don't think that's there.
Then she's not coming to the UFC. So I mean, that's why I feel like she's going to end up in Bellator. That's where I feel like she's
and fight Cyborg.
And I think she has a great chance of beating Cyborg. She just has to get through.
How about Cyborg fights her at 55, Jeff? Cyborg's really a 55er.
Cyborg would take that fight at 55. Yep, she'd take that fight at 55.
Cyborg, the cut to 45 is rough on Cyborg.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Cyborg.
I've
stood next to Cyborg. Cyborg's a big human being. Not any fat on her at all, though.
She's walking around at 170, Jeff.
I've stood next to Cyborg in fight camp or after a fight, and then when she didn't have a fight. And there's about a 15-pound difference, or whatever. She's more ripped when she has a fight, and she's a little softer when she doesn't. But she's not a small person, and she doesn't have a lot of weight to cut. She's ripped. I mean, she's muscular. She's not. Mm-hmm. There's not a layer of chub or a layer of fat to cut. And she, making 145 is incredibly, or has been in the past, has been hard for Cyborg. So I think that she would just take it at 155. And Bellator is a fight promotion that would do a women's lightweight division. The UFC's not going to do a lightweight division, no chance in hell. They're barely doing a featherweight division. But Bellator will do that because it's Harrison and Cyborg, and it's worth it to their organization to do it. So I think that she's going to end up in Bellator, and hopefully she does, man. Bellator's paying good money right now. And Harrison, it'll be a good win for, Bellator can kind of pat themselves on the back and feel like they got one in getting Harrison. But I think it's mainly because the UFC knows that the Amanda fight's not going to happen. So why make the
Dana will say he doesn't care. Go do it. No one cares. I don't care. Go do it. That's what he'll say. You know that. Yeah. He's already pretty much said that. He goes, I don't care what the buzz is. Is she the biggest free agent? And I'm paraphrasing, but he's already like, look, she's dominating nobodies in the PFL. And I mean, I just don't think that's anything the UFC really care. They're pushing so much overseas to begin with, but to create a division that isn't there and bring in a fighter just to fight Amanda, who they're friends anyway, it just doesn't seem to make
that's what I'm saying. If she were not friends with Amanda Nunes and there wasn't the history of training partners and all that with Amanda, the UFC may very well sign Harrison to fight in the UFC at 145 to take on Amanda. But because that fight isn't going to happen, There's no way the UFC makes that commitment to Harrison and signs that contract. Bellator will, though. And then she can go over there and fight Cyborg where there's no conflict of interest. And look, man, if it comes down to it, 3 years from now, Amanda's still on the top and Harrison's over there on the top. The UFC can sign Harrison, and her and Amanda can make the biggest payday of their life to walk away. You know, I mean, fight your friends if it's worth $10 million, man. I mean, if somebody's going to pay me $10 million, me and you both to fight, and I turn that down, then I'm not your friend, Jim. You know, I'm not your friend. I'm like, Jim, I'm sorry. One of us is going to have to get hurt here, but shit, we're going to be rich after this.
I'd like to see the person who pays us $10 million to fight.
Khabib, let's keep.
I want to meet that
Khabib
person right now because I got a lot of other business proposals for that person if they're going to pay us $10 million to fight.
Yeah, I'll keep bashing Khabib, and then he'll do it. He'll be like, Jim, he'll train you. Come to Dagestan. I'll train you, Jim. And then I don't even care. I won't even defend the ticket.
They're showing the Miesha Tate's face in the UFC 200 fight against Amanda, and the head kick to Holly Holm, and the absolute bludgeoning of Ronda Rousey, and the right hand that just sent Cyborg crumbling to the ground face first, and literally her forehead and her nose bounced off the canvas first. Amanda Nunes finishes are about as brutal as anything you've ever seen. And, you know, they're showing Juliana Pena. She's a cute girl, you know, and you just think of what Amanda Nunes might do to that face. But Miesha Tate against Amanda Nunes actually got a chest-to-chest and an inside trip and took her down, and Amanda rolled it over and just crushed her. And Amanda Nunes has 10 finishes, over 12 wins in a row. I mean, she's a simultaneous 2-division champion. She's just... There's nobody that's gonna. And I've watched Kayla Harrison, man. I know this. I like her. I've met her. I've talked to her. She's a lot of fun at the media days. She's an Ali Abdelaziz client. They had a Dominance MMA media day where her and Henry were going back and forth about who's better, because Kayla is a 2-time Olympic gold medalist, and she's entertaining. She's a great fighter, but she has not fought anyone, man. I mean, they might as well have been smokers outside of, like, you know, bars that are also barns in the Midwest, you know, like that's what it seems like to me. And I hate to disrespect the people who have fought her.
I mean, she's fighting.
Actually, no, I don't. She hasn't fought anyone. Nobody.
Name me one 155-pound female fighter. You know, I mean, that's the problem.
We'll get her.
Yeah, who's not? You know, who's not? I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's there's nobody out there for her to fight. It's not her fault. That's what weight she is, and Harrison's a beast on top. You know, if Harrison were to get Amanda down, Amanda's in a world of shit. She's in a lot of trouble.
But we've seen what Amanda did to Ronda, who's also a judoka. You know, I mean, not to say that
knocked her out on the
Ronda,
feet.
I mean, just crushed her. I mean, just ended. I mean, the violent power of Amanda Nunes is something to behold, man. At 135 or 100, the shots that she delivers are violent. They're nasty. It's like a truck hitting you, Jeff. There's no way Kayla Harrison's defending that. She's long. She hits him on the end of her punches. And it's not the longest reach in the world, but Amanda has the unique ability to have full extension, hit you at what we call the end of your punch, the end of her punch, and deliver just as much power at the end of her punch as she delivers when she hits you with a short shot, which is very rare. I mean, her power at the end of her punches is like nothing I've ever seen.
No, I'm just saying, if Harrison put Amanda on her back, Amanda's in a world of shit. I mean, a world of shit.
But she's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. She's also a black belt in jiu-jitsu, Amanda.
Yeah, but as they say, 1 elbow, you're a brown belt. 2 elbows, man, you're a white belt.
2 elbows, you're a white belt. Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I was going to say, though. But the thing is that Harrison has to get past that first shot. She has to be able to slip that first right hand. She's got to be able to not get hit by Amanda to close that distance. Tate was able to do that once. And I feel like Tate now feels like, you know, that was at the tail end of Tate's career when she wasn't into it anymore, kind of. And you know, she wasn't enjoying it. I don't think Tate has any better of a chance today than she did then. But I feel like Tate believes that she does. And that's the only way we've seen people beat Amanda. That's how Valentina was beating Amanda. She was taking her down and beating her on the ground. And so if you're going to go after Amanda, that's how you have to do it. You can't stand there and trade punches with her, because even if you can beat her to the punch, her punch is so much more devastating, you know? And
that's the only girl that can beat her, Jeff. I think Valentina's the only girl with a shot against Amanda. The only one. I think you agree with me. She'd have to come back up to 35, which isn't her weight, but she'd have a shot.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that Valentina's a lot more active than Amanda. And so, you know, and Valentina's probably getting a little better. It's just little things. You know, whenever you watch those two fights with Amanda and Valentina, it's just little bitty things, man. I mean, it's the you know, the closest of margins between talent levels in there. They're the two best women in the world. I think Valentina actually has better skills, has more skill set. She's a more well-rounded fighter. But Amanda's dominance in her punching power, her size and strength overpower that technique. And so it's a really weird matchup. It's a shame that Amanda has to exist at the same time as Valentina, and Valentina has to exist at the same time as Amanda. But thankfully, Valentina found her weight class, and she can be appreciated for she's the most skilled female fighter in the world, you know, in my opinion. And it's not a disrespect to Amanda Nunes. I'm not an idiot, man. Amanda Nunes, I pick Amanda Nunes to beat every 145 man on the planet except for like 5, you know? So that's how I feel about Amanda Nunes, man. She is a bad, bad woman.
She really is. And while you just gave us the perfect segue, let's take it and go right down that road, Jeff. 145-pound men, the main event coming up, the Blessed Express, Max Holloway getting in there against Yair Rodríguez. He's been out 2 years. He hasn't fought since October of 2019 against Jeremy Stevens in the rematch, won by unanimous decision. Meanwhile, Max Holloway, I mean, he's beaten everybody, not named Alexander Volkanovski. And really, in that second fight, a lot of people, myself included, thought he won. Although the more I watch it back, the more I realize why the judges had it for Volko. But I mean, Max Holloway has lost to Dustin Poirier when he came up to try to win the interim belt at 55, twice to Volkanovski, but nobody else. I mean, what he's done to Brian Ortega, what he did to Frankie Edgar, Calvin Kattar, Jose Aldo a couple of times, Anthony Pettis, Ricardo the Bully Lamas, who wasn't a bully. And let's not forget the TKO against Charles Oliveira when Oliveira was still at 145. So when you look at Holloway's losses, Volko twice, Poirier, Conor McGregor was one of them, and that was a decision. Dennis Bermudez and Dustin Poirier. So twice Poirier, once at 45 and once 55. So Max Holloway, if you're not Alexander Volkanovski, has been, you know, the last opponent you want to get in there. And the last time when we saw Max was January, and he just put on maybe, I mean, it might have even topped what he did to Brian Ortega. Probably the most one-sided beating we've ever seen in UFC history against Calvin Kattar, who somehow managed to survive 5 rounds and lose by decision. That fight probably should have been stopped. And you get footage. I've seen footage of Dana during the fight going, why hasn't Herb stopped this fight? This is making me nervous. I don't want. And Dana was actually concerned. It looked like Dana was concerned that Kattar might suffer permanent damage or die in that fight. That's how bad of a beating it was by Max Holloway.
I mean, I felt the same way as Dana during the Ortega fight. You know, late in that fight, I was like, God damn, just throw in the towel. Throw in the damn towel before this kid gets really hurt. But that's the thing. This is a two-man division. You know, it really is. It's Max and Volko, and then everybody else. Max kills everybody else. He kills everybody else. Now, Ortega's toughness and his ability early in fights, you know, definitely made some great moments. I mean, he definitely took the fight to the champion in their last fight. Early in that fight, it's just the fight wore on, man. You get your timing, you start seeing those openings, and a guy like, you know, Volko just lands the shit. But I think it's a testament of how good Max and the champion are. You know, they're just a step ahead of everybody in that division. And I feel like tonight, I'll go ahead and make my prediction. I feel like Max's boxing and Max's output is going to be too much for Yair, who fights more recklessly.
Yeah, he does. And he's always capable of that Hail Mary, like against the zombie. And he's capable of dominating, capable of finishing. But, man, I'll tell you what, this division right now, if Holloway wins, and you have to think he will, is a big favorite. As a matter of fact, what are the odds in this fight? Let's give everybody the odds real quick as we get set. Yeah, Max as much as minus 800, minus 750, minus 700, right? The opening was minus 450, Jeff. Minus 450 was the open, and everybody bet on Max anyway to the point where it went up to 8. And so if you had Max at minus 450,
now that it's at 8,
it's plus 5 for Yair. So you bet 100 to win 5, Jeff, on Yair right now.
You throw that. Yair is not a plus 500 underdog. I don't care. I don't think he's going to win. Let me say that. I don't think.
Would you bet this? Would you throw 100 down?
Well, see, I only bet the odds.
Pantera?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, because I'm going to get $500 back. You know, hell, I'd have bet it when
Here
it was.
you go in the chat.
As soon as it hit. As soon as it hit 800, I wanted to let everybody know before I get emails saying, "Oh, you're crazy." I think Max Holloway is going to win this fight. If I don't bet on fights, but I talk to people who do and advise them. Some people, and you bet the odds. You bet the odds. You don't even look at the fighters. Only to say, is Yair Rodríguez a plus 500 or a plus 800 against anybody in that division? No,
unless you're Dana White and you got more money than God, and Dana throws $100,000 on Canelo to win 41K. Unless you're Dana and you're doing shit like that. But I mean, Dark Knight Rises in the chat. He says minus 720 for Max and plus 500 Yair. And depending upon where I've seen it at 800, I've seen it at 750 and 720. I'm on Odd Shark checking it out.
Crazy.
And it shows all the line. Yeah, so I mean, you're betting the odds, right? So if you were betting on Rogerio de Lima, he was a plus 140. So you actually, and if you had him by knockout, you could have won some real money. And again, Felicia Spencer, and you can win money on parlays, but if you're looking for smart money, as Jeff's calling it here, you go with the odds. And if you have a chance, like if you would have bet Holly Holm against Ronda Rousey, you would have won $4,000 off 100. If you would have bet, I mean, there's so many of them over the course of time.
Yeah, but that's how you. But
what do you do at 45, Jeff?
Money.
What do you do, man? Like, I mean, if Max wins and then he beats Volko, then you have 4 fights between them. And if Max wins that one's again, maybe it's over. That means the 4th fight between them. Yair hasn't fought in 2 years. If he wins, if he beats Max, he's gonna deserve a title shot over Max because he just beat him. But that's where I say, what, Dana? Why not? Why not let the American hero in his own mind, Henry Cejudo? And I love you, Henry, but Henry really has a huge opinion of himself, and he's trying so hard. I want to see Henry get that money fight. I don't know if he's there. And Volkanovski's certainly
get in there and fight Max.
But he wants to fight Max. So if Max beats Volko, that would be one that Henry would love. But to be a 3-division champ, this is a chance for the fans to see history. I know Dana's big on that stuff, but he's a lot bigger on making money. There's no real money fight. For as loaded as the division is at the top, Jeff, there's no real money fight at 45. There's no real money fighter at 45, and that includes Max and Volko.
Yeah, but you insert Henry there, and it includes him too. It's just not. Look, Henry wasn't the dominating champ to justify that. John Jones can go up and fight, and if he wants to go down and fight at 185, then yeah, man, hell yeah. GSP could go up and fight for 2 titles if he wanted to, but I mean, you've got to be that guy. You can't, or you got to be Conor McGregor. I mean, the UFC.
Or you got to be in the thin division that's running out of fights.
No, not to get multiple division championships. It just doesn't happen except for a few fighters.
I mean, what's Aldo going to come back up? I mean, what else are we going to do?
Well, I mean, active fighters would be a step up than retired ones. I'll say that.
I mean, look at the rankings at 45, Jeff. Right? Holloway's 1, Ortega's 2. Ortega's gotten bludgeoned by both Holloway and Volko. The Zombie's at 4. He's coming off a loss. Yair hasn't fought in 2 years. Calvin Kattar is at 5, and we saw what Max did to him. So you got some real good fighters at the top, but it's very thin, and they've already fought each other. If Yair wins, that's great because he hasn't fought Volko. But after that, if Max wins this fight, and then you have to think it'll be Max and Volko again, and then if Volko beats Max again, maybe you have to give Henry a shot then. But I think he has to wait.
Henry's not even an active fighter. I mean, what is
trying to be though?
Why does Henry deserve a 145-pound title shot for? Why does?
But who else is there? There's nobody else there. If Max loses again, Volko's fighting.
Look, if you're on that top 15, you're ahead of Henry Cejudo. In that division,
I don't think. Yeah, I mean, I don't see it that way though, because I don't think they care about any of those guys. I mean, Ige's got a fight coming up against Emmett, right? And it's on a prelims. The Zombies at number 4. I mean, I just don't see that they have to hope that Max wins this and then beats Volko, because then you have Max Volko 2 more times in a row. That's what Dana's got to be hoping for. He has to be, because there's no other scenario that even flickers for the UFC in this division right now. Isn't that crazy? With so much talent,
well, the UFC doesn't.
No other scenario.
The UFC doesn't. Yeah, there's only a few divisions that they really care about, and it's the ones that make money, And
I mean, Max could mess around and get his head kicked off here. Max could get his head kicked off here, and then the Yair throws a monkey wrench in the whole thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, Yair has a great opportunity here, an absolute great opportunity here. Henry needs to start talking to all the Mexico papers.
Man.
And see if he can become a draw in that market, because that's a market that the UFC desperately has been trying to go to since Cain Velasquez. It just hasn't been able to. I mean, they've gone there,
right,
but they haven't had that. They haven't produced that. Although Moreno, I'll say that's a good one, right? That's a good one. That was a good deal the way that worked out. But you got Yair here, and so that puts two. I don't know, man. It's going to be a hard sell. I would love to see Henry come back. He should have never left. And then I think that had he defended that other title a couple of times, then we could be talking about this. It's the fact that he didn't. I'm not anti-Henry. I just think that, man, you shouldn't have walked away when you did. You should have defended it a couple of times, and then we would have had this conversation.
Oh, no doubt. And I think the UFC has proven that they're about the name value and the money more. And no, in the chat, I don't think Max is a huge money fighter. I don't think he's a huge draw. It's on this card, and he's the main event, and that's the only reason anybody's watching this card. But when I look at Askarov at 125, you know what I mean, and Pantoja, they got passed over so Moreno could fight Figueiredo again, even though he's beaten him twice in a row. Same thing will happen with Max here. So Max will fight Volko again with a win here.
Yeah. Max could be huge ticket sales if they did an outdoor event in Hawaii. No question.
Yes.
But that's not
But do you consider him a big money fighter, Jeff?
No. I consider him at middle of the road. You know, I don't consider him a nobody. I mean, Max,
he's a headliner.
On a fight night card, and he's on a fight night card in the middle of the day. You know what I mean? That's kind of crazy to put it that way because it's Max Holloway. But he's a fight night headliner, and he could be a pay-per-view co-main event. But that's it. He's not. He's been a
main event before. He's been a main event before against Aldo, right? I mean, was that a main event? It was
probably
right?
the first or second. Well, he can main event fight night cards. I was talking about he can't main event a pay-per-view card.
I'm trying to see if he's ever main evented a pay-per-view.
Well, I think that one when Poirier, he had to fight Poirier on late notice, might have been.
Was Kelvin and Adesanya the main event, or were they the main event? Interesting. Let me see. UFC 236. That would be nope. Holloway Poirier 2 was the main event. Never doubt Jeff Cain, ladies and gentlemen, ever.
Yeah, well, Poirier or Holloway took that at the last minute. You know, I was sort of sad to see Holloway take that. You know, but he took it for the money. He took it, you know. For the
how about if Holloway would have gotten the Khabib fight instead of Rage and Al when that fight happened in Brooklyn and Holloway was going to step up last minute to fight Khabib? Remember?
I'd have loved that. Because
who was it originally supposed to be?
Who with Khabib?
Yeah, Tony. It was Tony, and then it was Tony tripped on the camera cable at the TV station and tore his ACL. Yeah. That's unbelievable. And then Max had some issues making weight, and he had a health issue, and he couldn't do it, and ended up being raging out. So Holloway was going to step up and try to be a 2-division champion that night in Brooklyn.
I would have loved to have seen that fight
against Dustin.
Yeah, I would have loved to have seen that fight because Holloway presents different things. You know, he would have been faster than Khabib. His boxing definitely better than Khabib, but the takedowns, you know, that would have been a much more interesting fight. And if you were, and you know, for those who maybe not have saw it, Rage and Al took Khabib the distance. So, you know, Max could have slipped into a really good situation that night.
Really good. And Rage and Al, man, he's hasn't had much luck since then. But when I look at, man, I'm telling you what, when I look at, and Malte Russ says Max Holloway has a huge fan base, and he does. And I'll say this:
he does.
There aren't 3 fighters on the roster who I like watching more than Max. I mean, he's in my top 5. As far as me, as a guy who covers the sport and still considers myself to be 100%. A big fan, I don't miss anything Francis Ngannou does. I don't miss anything Max Holloway does. You can't miss a Conor fight. Certain people you don't miss when they fight, and you know, for without a doubt, Max Holloway probably in my top 3. Whitaker, yep. Yeah. I'd say Ngannou and Max are definitely in my top 3, and Amanda Nunes probably right there too. You know, you don't miss anything she does.
Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, he's up there. You know, I mean, like I said, I definitely like watching Whitaker, and of course Izzy Adesanya, because I'm wondering if anybody's going to be able to take him down. You know,
and Usman now because he's so dominant.
And Usman is and then Valentina and Amanda, like you said, and Max
and Justin Gaethje. You can't miss a Gaethje fight either because you never know.
Well,
what you're gonna see there.
Yeah, and then Conor, it's just kind of the you got to anymore. It's kind of like a train wreck, man. You got to watch, to see where all the cars are going to land. But
I mean, Max Holloway's got 17 wins at featherweight, Jeff. 17, the most in the history of the division. He longtime champion. He's taken a couple of real severe beatings that, oftentimes when fighters take beatings like that, they're never the same. The Poirier fight comes to mind. He was just, and he just kept coming. He's got the heart of a champion. He's got as much heart as anyone. He was saying he's the best boxer in the UFC in the Kattar fight. It's must-see TV. But is Max a multi-million-dollar pay-per-view or payday guy? No, he's not. And at that division with Volkanovski, who's not a big money champion, it's just a shame that Henry's not. Because if Henry were a big name, and he should be a gold medalist and a 2-division champ, Henry chose the cringe route, got a lot of people not liking him, never really connected with the fans the way that he could have, in my opinion, never really connected with the Mexican fans the way that he could. Can you imagine Henry? He's Mexican. I mean, he wasn't born in Mexico.
That's what I said.
But you said that he could have been the great, and Henry, for some reason, just, after the fights, when he got on the mic, he wasn't really connecting with the fans. And, I mean, he's said a lot of things, controversial stuff and things like that, but the connection to the money, which is a connection with the people. If you don't connect with the people, you don't connect with the money, period. And he has no real base of people where he's their guy. He's not, he doesn't, he's like the Irish have Conor. The Italians have Marvin. Henry doesn't have that group that he's the king of.
Yeah. I mean, what it was with Henry, because I knew who Henry was when he came to the UFC, and he's different when you watch those early interviews, and it just didn't seem genuine. It seemed like he was trying to play a character, and it just didn't seem genuine. And so I would have rather just Henry been Henry the way he was when he first entered the sport, and he's just talking about work ethic and in the Olympics and kind of going that route instead. But I understand, man, what happened is, hell, we're in a different world. We're in he came around post Conor McGregor world, and so you've got to do something to get attention. And it just didn't work out. I mean, you can't make the fans love you. Henry Cejudo's, Harrison, she does have 2 gold medals, so that's hard to friggin' argue about that. But he's up there. Whenever we look back on the greatest combat sports athletes, Henry's going to be one of them. There's going to be others up there.
He's got to be the best.
But he's going to be one of them. I don't
gold
think
medalist
and
and 2-division champion.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the title defenses. You talked about that. He doesn't have the defenses, but he did beat the greatest champion in the history of the UFC numbers-wise. He beat Mighty Mouse. He destroyed Dillashaw. Marlon Moraes, he's a 2-division champ plus the gold medalist at a huge upset win in Beijing in 2008 to win the gold medal. If he goes up to 45 and beats Volko or Max, here's the way I see it playing out.
Never going to get the fight.
Max wins this fight. He fights Volko again. I would bet Max all day long in that trilogy. He beats Volko, they fight again, and then Henry fights the winner. You're talking about 2 more years though. You never know who could emerge in a year and a half, 2 more years. So if I'm Henry, I'm rooting for Yair, and then I say, this guy hasn't fought in 2 years. Give me the shot, Uncle Dana. But I don't see how he wouldn't give Pantera the shot. I don't know. This is crazy.
Yeah.
It's so thin,
but whenever,
for such a loaded division.
Yeah. When I say the greatest person in combat sports, because there's a lot of boxers that won gold medals and won 2-division championships, we just don't talk about. To have an honest conversation about it, we'd have to sit down and literally do an honest conversation about it.
Evander Holyfield.
But Henry's there.
For example.
Henry's there. There's no question Henry's there. But there's a lot of people that that the MMA community don't talk about. And yeah, like you said, Holyfield. And there's others, man.
Max just knocked him down with a jab. Max knocked him down with a jab, Jeff.
Max, I mean, I'm telling you, man.
With a little bit of a weight transfer as Yair was going to throw a kick, but still, to knock someone down with just a jab, straight out, bang, on your back. Yair's dangerous, though. He's dangerous with the hands and feet.
He's real
Max,
dangerous.
be careful. Yeah. He's real dangerous, man. This is fun. 4 minutes left in round 1. Oh. Yair's looking quick, man.
Yeah.
Max is hitting him
Max
already,
just has to stay in boxing range and not eat a kick. That's going to be the key here. Don't eat a kick.
In and out.
Keep it in boxing range.
His connectivity is astounding, Max Holloway. His percentage of punches
Yair
landed.
did just land a little combination, though. Oh, Max is so good, man.
So
Max
good.
is so good.
Smooth body shot, in, out, jab, in, out.
Yeah, he's just smooth. Yeah.
So long.
He's just smooth at everything that he does. And even when he gets hit, he takes it so well.
I think he just got kicked in the chin. He better be careful. Yair's dangerous, man. He's
yeah. And he goes to the body. That's something that I really do like about Max. And there's not a whole hell of a lot. Gaethje does that. There's not a lot of fighters who do that.
Right.
You see Usman doing that a lot more now.
Max is so good and so fast that as Yair's coming in to throw, whether it be a punch or a kick, Max is hitting him with the jab and then getting out of the way in time to avoid the shot. He's that good. He's like hitting a ghost in there. But as we know, like a lucky shot is all you need. Man.
Yeah, look, Yair's got great kicks, and that's, he's working the legs, and Max is going to the body. So they're both putting in work that they know is not going to pay off for a minute,
No, and I like the stomps to the thigh for Max too. The little stomps to the front of the thigh against a kicker. I love that strategy.
Oh, and they don't
hurt much.
Little front kick. Well, it can hyperextend your knee bad though.
Yair's landing some pretty good kicks to Max's lead leg though, behind the knee, the calf kick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is he's putting in the work on the leg kicks where Max putting in the work on the body. It's going to be interesting how this plays out when we get to round 3 because he's definitely landing. There's 3 leg kicks in a row to Max's lead leg. 3 in a row. Boom, boom,
and
boom.
Max switched stances for a second too. Oh, another one. Where are you at on the clock, Jeff?
I've got 2 minutes.
Okay, yeah, he just ate it. Oh, Max with a big right hand. Snapped his head back and another one. Yair's hands are down. Max just teed off a couple of shots in a row. I mean, Max is clearly the more effective fighter, but those leg kicks of Yair Rodríguez are starting to really add up.
Yeah, Max now, where I feel we are in the fight is Max realizes right now he's in a fight. You know what I mean? Is that Yair come to fight? He's bringing leg kicks, he's bringing front kicks, he's throwing combinations.
Yep.
And Max just has to be Max.
He's fighting like a guy with a golden opportunity coming off a 2-year layoff to fight the #1 guy in the world who's not the champion. And, Yair's got a big cut under his right eye, leading down the front of his face. Left eye, underneath his left eye from a right hand. Uh-oh, Max did a spinning kick and let Yair take his back. Is he going to get – oh, Max Holloway just got kind of taken down. Not really. He didn't go all the way down. Oh, and now he's down. Yair's working for a choke now. He's not going to get a choke like this on Max. This would be crazy. Max did a spinning kick and Yair shot in.
Yeah, he was too close to Yair. So Yair just grabbed him. Max threw that from too close a range.
This is a chance for Yair to literally get his wits about him after taking those shots though. And he's still looking. He's got the leg wrapped around Max's left leg, still looking for that takedown, not going to get it. Max changes it into looking.
Well, he's doing a good, Yair's doing a good job in keeping his right leg standing, and he's got the left leg wrapped around Holloway's left leg, but he's not carrying his own weight. You know what I mean? He's not on him trying to carry his weight right now. Max turns.
Yair throwing up kicks at Max. Max ends up on top with 5 seconds left. Side control. He's not going to throw anything. End of the round. Wow. Yair with a frantic pace, though. I mean, just as you would expect a big underdog to do, he just let him rip and let him fly. And, he's fast. He's dangerous. He's throwing everything in the world at Max. He tried the takedown. I give Yair Rodríguez a hell of a lot of credit for round 1, although I still have Max winning at 10-9. I don't know how you feel.
Yeah, that was a close round. I mean, Yair landed big shots. He landed a head kick, man. I mean, Max has to be really freaking careful with Yair's kicks. That's where Yair is the most dangerous in this matchup. But Max, man, he's just Max. It's like nothing bothers Max. It's like he get hit in the head, get hit with the combination. Doesn't matter. Just keeps coming forward.
Some replays here. Yair with a combination. Not a bad combo there.
Round.
Those leg kicks on Max from Yair making him switch stances a little bit, and that's a problem for Holloway.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Man, but Max did land 2 big right hands.
Like
no.
Yeah.
That was a good round, man. That's about as entertaining a round as you're going to see.
That was a really good
round number 2, Jeff. Max with 97 strikes, Yair 59 when you think it's close. Unbelievable. His volume is crazy. Holloway.
It's insane. It's insane.
But he is fighting out of the southpaw stance to start round 2, Max. He doesn't want any more of those leg kicks, obviously. They worked. And he's switching it up now, going back and forth. Some people have Yair 10-9 in round 1. I don't see how you could possibly have that when you look at the strikes. Everyone's calling
look,
it
there's
10-9
gonna be,
Yair.
Well, Leto, I think that you'll have one of the 3 judges who think Max knocked Yair down with that jab. I don't think it was a knockdown. I think he caught him off balance and he just kind of pushed him down. But
right,
a judge sitting on the opposite side of the cage may not see that, and it just scored as a knockdown. Oh, Yair landed a hard left hand. Max got to get his head off the center line, man.
Oh, Rodriguez with more strikes, 36-23 to the head. That's why. Okay. The numbers I had were wrong.
Oh, well, there you go. I think it was an incredibly close first round. I don't know how to score it. I know that Yair's the one that got bloodied, and that plays in the mind of the judges a little bit. And he's the one that hit the canvas.
Right.
But he's landed some good combinations.
Looks fast. And a big, big risk for Holloway to take this fight, too. We didn't talk about that. I mean, this is a guy who hasn't fought in 2 years. He's number 4. Just needed one more win to get back at Volko. But for some reason, Figueiredo didn't for Moreno. Interesting. Nice body kick by
Dude, Yair is so dangerous with those friggin' kicks, man. Those kicks scare the hell out of me.
And he comes from southpaw stance and throws heat with those kicks from southpaw. He's there now. So when Max switches, he's been switching. Interesting.
Now, see, here's the deal, though. As this fight goes on, Yair will be the one to slow down, not Max. Max has been here before. You know, Max fights 5 rounds all the time. This is the biggest fight of Yair's life.
Oh.
And so
nice right by Max.
Keep that in mind as we go.
Max with a left to the
body.
I think
Yair might
He's starting to land a lot more now. Yeah, Max is landing a lot more now.
Slowing down a little bit. Yeah, adrenaline.
And he was so fast in the beginning. So fast in the beginning of the fight. It was almost like who could keep up that pace. But Max coming in southpaw and having it's being effective that way. Max's volume just throwing and just hit him with a right. Throwing again. Oh, a big combo from Max has Yair pushed back against the cage. They're clenched up a little bit. Back to the center they come. Yair, that definitely took a little bit off of Yair there.
Yeah,
that combo.
Now there's something I like Yair when he turns away. I don't like that. He's going to get kicked in the head by other people. Maybe not Max, but he's going to get kicked in the head by somebody doing that. I don't like.
I'll tell you what though, that lead leg of Holloway, Jeff, is in trouble. It's starting to swell up, look all purple. Those leg kicks are adding up. He's fighting southpaw, and now Yair's getting to work on the other leg.
Yeah, and Max will kick it into another gear here in a minute. Once that gets to be a problem, because that's Max Holloway, right?
Holloway just swarmed him up against the cage. Yair with a couple of jabs out of the southpaw stance, though. Wow, this is fun. What a fight, man. Max Holloway just has a knack for these scraps. Yair does, too.
Yeah. And Max is still going to the body too, man. I mean, he's putting in work at the body, and that pays off. That will absolutely slow Yair down. Oh man, those are hard.
Yair's smart getting off.
But Yair's hands down by his waist worry me. Not necessarily
that's
tonight,
the body work,
but yeah, against a lot of people that worries me. Because Max isn't really a knockout artist, right? He gets you by volume.
Big right to the body. Holloway's pounding that body, Jeff.
Yeah. Slow him down.
Max really starting to land. Oh, big knee to the midsection by Max. Coming in, pressing him up against the cage is Holloway. Nice little break for him. He doesn't want to take any more of those leg kicks. His left leg is getting chewed up. But now he's working in the clinch against Yair, up against the cage. And this is where the body work comes in for Holloway. You said Yair had slowed down a little bit. Max like leaning on him, taking a little more of that wind away. Mm-hmm. Now they get off, and Yair and Holloway in the middle of the octagon. Yair just slipped again. He fell. And Holloway jumps right on top of him. But this is a weird position on the ground. Why is the ref going to stand him up here? What's going on? Is that the end of the round? Yeah, there's the end of the round. Wow, that round went by fast, man. You're watching these guys. It goes by like this, blink of an eye.
Yeah, You know you're in a Max Holloway fight whenever you say that. Is that the end of the round? What?
Like what? The round just started,
I don't
man.
like
What?
Yair's. Yeah. I don't like Yair's hands down that low. And Max, you're right. Is going to have to start checking these leg kicks. I love watching Max Holloway. He's like the Diaz cousin or something, you know, who's probably better skilled.
The Diaz cousin.
Yeah.
They're showing some highlights here.
That's better.
Mostly Max in that round. So when Yair throws that leg kick, Max is coming right back with a right hand from southpaw. And Holloway landing, he landed a bunch of big shots in that round. That was easily Max's round. Yair took some punishment in that round.
Yeah, I scored that round for Max.
Yair swung the zombie elbow up. He almost threw he almost hit him with the zombie elbow, the one he knocked out the zombie with up against the cage. Not that he didn't knock zombie out up against the cage. He was up against the cage when he threw it against Max. To clarify, but
it landed too. It landed. Nice. I didn't catch that on the inside right there till the replay.
Me neither, man. Yair is just that fighter. You can't see half the stuff he does, man. He's so good. Taekwondo black belt. You know, Max is just overall. Oh, flying knee by Holloway up against the cage now in the clinch. Max is getting more aggressive, if that's even possible. Think about Max being more aggressive. But this is awesome. What a fight.
He's found his range and timing is what it is. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Max is definitely having fun in there right now.
Oh, he is. Yeah, this
Max
doesn't really knock people out. I mean, not recently.
Too hard. Beat you with volume, and then you wear down, and then he'll stop you. I mean, like I said, he's like the Diaz brothers, except more skilled. I know some people are going to get mad about that, but I don't see how that's an argument.
How would he not be more skilled than the Diaz brothers? That's the thing.
I mean,
know, now,
but I know the Diaz fan base is. Oh, I think ever, but yeah.
Yair's down again. Max has his back. Ground and pound from Holloway. Yair's in big trouble. Full mount for Max Holloway. Full mount. Are you seeing this, Jeff? Where are you at on the clock? I'm at 3:28.
I mean, I've got him. He's took his back, and then he's pounding away. And then, Yair rolled back over, and Max has him. I mean, he's basically mounted. His foot's trapped, but he's going to get it loose. Yep.
Is Max going to throw some elbows here from top position? Punches, punches.
I mean, full mount with over 3 minutes left in the round.
Oh, and he gave up his back. Yair gave up his back. Max trying to roll him back over. Another dominating round for the former champion, Max Blessed Holloway. 2:50 I have on my clock. Yair desperately trying to hold him off. I mean, this is a bad spot for Yair. Max has the legs locked in. He's hitting him with lefts right now. He's got him the legs through the legs of Yair. And he doesn't have his feet locked together. Max doesn't, but he's maintaining top position pretty easily.
Yeah. Well, he's maintaining the mount for the most part.
Right.
And then Yair's bucking, you know, he's bridging. He's trying to get free, and Max is just following it like a bronco, and he riding him for 8 seconds, Jim. Now hold on. Yair did give up his back, and Max he's got one hook in. Ooh. This is a dangerous spot for anybody, black belt or not, you know.
2 minutes left. Yeah, Max switched it around. He's got the possibility of a choke here. If I'm Max, I probably let him back up now. I don't know. He's pretty worn out.
I ride this round out because you're wearing him down.
Max could get a guillotine from here.
Yair did spin. Yeah, Max or Yair spun. He
or
got
an armbar.
So that's good for Yair.
Back on the feet. 135 to go. They're on the feet again. Yair looking bloodied and battered. Oh, they're throwing haymakers at each other in the center of the cage. This is awesome. Now, Yair with the takedown. Whoa. Max right back up. Right back up. Wow, Yair Rodríguez. There's a lot of fight in that dog, Jeff. Max with a nice combo. Yair bloodied, battered.
But that's a good sign for Max, though, to have Yair go ballistic. You know, Yair he's feeling desperate right now.
Missed with a big spinning elbow. Speaking of desperate. Those are desperation
And
moves
Max
when you
is
throw a
just
spinning
punishing
elbow.
him. Yeah, every time he misses, Max punishes him. It's
Max shoots in for another takedown. Oh, man. There you go, Max. That's a brutal takedown right there. That's a clinic on a single leg. Might have even gotten the double.
And the cut below Yair's left eye is getting bigger. They won't stop it unless it gets huge, but it's pretty bad.
Max anticipated that takedown so well. He as soon as Yair started to throw a kick, as soon as his foot left the mat, Max was boom, exploded right in, and just fast and explosive on that takedown. They're down to the last 10 seconds of the round. Max landing knees from isn't that a knee to a downed opponent?
No, you can knee him anywhere except the head.
Yeah, that's right. Not to the head. It's either the body. Okay. So Max is 1 second left in the round. That's it. And man, he beat up Yair in that round. Yair
I think
daps him up.
what happened, is Max felt Yair on the ground and felt like, man, I've got a big advantage on the ground. So why waste all this time with these freaking elbows and kicks on the feet? I'm just going to take him down. Yeah. But Yair is bloodied and beaten up pretty good.
Is that a 10-8 round?
I don't know. I probably wouldn't score it a 10-8 but I totally understand if somebody did. I wouldn't argue with them about it.
Every time Yair throws a kick, Max is either knocking him down with the jab with the momentum or shooting in for a takedown now. And that's his number one weapon is his kicks. So every time he throws one, Max is shooting in for a takedown or starching him with a jab straight. Every time. He's got it timed out perfectly, Jeff. Perfectly timed out whenever he throws a kick.
Yeah, that's what I say. Max got his timing now and distance down, and so you're going to see Max start opening up even more than he already
65 to 53 round 2, 52 to 28 round 3 for Holloway. Significant strikes. Yair, it was 58-41 for him in round 1. So 2 rounds to 1 Holloway, you would have to think as we hit round 4. Still anybody's fight, but Max has that motor that never dies down, and Yair, I mean, he hasn't slowed down that much, to his credit. He's got a hell of a lot of fight in him. And Holloway has seen something on the ground, Jeff. He's coming right in on him now.
Yeah.
He feels like he's going to dominate this
easy.
fight.
Yeah, his easiest path to win is just take him down.
Yeah. Yair coming close with some shots, though. Oh, Max right back to the body.
Yeah,
nice combo from Yair. Woo. This is a fun fight, Jeff. Oh, Max with a big right, teed off.
Max is willing to just stand here in front of him. Yeah, you know what's happened, though? Yair has stopped throwing those kicks to the body and stuff. Max has got Yair where it's just turned into a boxing match.
Yeah, he can't kick because Max shoots in for the takedown or starches him with that jab every time. He has the kicks completely timed out of Yair. And now Max trying to clinch him up, goes in and grabs him from the front. Oh, looking for, is he going to choke him from here? Is he going to pull guard? He put his leg up around it. Oh, wait, he's got the choke locked in. Max has the choke locked in and he takes him down with it. Now Mount from Holloway. Look, does he have side control? Man, there's a little grappling exchange here. Max had a guillotine from the front.
Mm-hmm. And it was in deep. I'm watching it. I mean, that's in deep. And Yair went to the ground to try to create space. And then Max let it go rather than do that.
Good work in the guard from Yair, though, to escape that choke. And now he's on his back, though. And Max is on top like he was a couple of times in the last few rounds. And Max is looking to, set up some shots here. He's still far enough away. Like, his legs are far enough away. And Yair's keeping him far enough off him to where he can still hit him and get some extension on the shots. Max now standing up. Uh-oh. Yair looking for something with the ankle or the knee. Nice job by Max to get away. Right back on top of him. That's some high-level stuff. Yair's grappling's improved so much over the years. He's in a dangerous spot right now,
he rode for a knee bar, and then Max just kept spinning. Nice, Max.
Max on the side as Yair's turtled up. And now Yair trying for an armbar. Max standing over him. Got to watch the up kicks, holding his legs here. The up kick will knock you the F out. You know that. Big right from Max. Max splits through those legs and gets right back on top. Yair, I think, is giving up his back now. He's got to be exhausted, man. Yair Rodríguez at this point. He's in a fetal position. Max on top of him. Literally in a fetal position, curled up on his side. Max on top of his hip, throwing left hand's hammer fist down on top of him, Jeff.
Yeah, I mean, Max basically has the mount. Yeah, he basically has him
Gives
mounted.
up his back.
Except instead of, he's got his foot on the mat instead of, his knee. But Max has him mounted again and has his back.
Oh, nice knee by Max on the way up. Max lets him up, throws a knee at him. Oh, Yair just tried to throw a kick. And again, Max just straight out with the jab. Holloway dominating this fight right now. Yair's still throwing with heavy volume, though, and he could do damage. He's throwing spinning fists and elbows, and it's desperation time for Pantera. But we've seen him win in these spots before. Man. Ever since match switched to the southpaw. Oh, eye poke. Max threw a straight eye poke out. Which would be interesting, because if they take a point here, as they did in the which fight did they just take a point on the first one? I can't remember. Just recently.
I don't see him taking it. I don't see him taking a point.
Oh no, it was his thumb as he threw a punch. Oh, it might not have been an eye poke. It might not have been. It might have been the glove going in there. Goddard's
Well,
giving
both of his eyes are fucked up.
Yeah. The doc's coming in.
Yeah, no, that's a punch. That's garbage. That is a punch. He punches him, and his thumb, this part of his thumb right here, sorry,
right.
with the punch, hell, I got to get in front of the camera, goes into his eye socket. Like, boom. That's a punch.
Right there.
That's a punch. I mean, Yair's getting a break right here.
Literally a 50-second and counting break. All right, they're back at it. 108 left in the round. I mean, we might see this one go to round 5. Max and southpaw, flying knee. His volume hasn't stopped. He's Max Holloway. It never stops.
Both Yair's eyes are heavily swollen and damaged.
Yeah.
Or beneath of him, his cheekbones, we'll say.
Oh, he just kicked Max in the face, though. I don't know if it was damaging. See, Holloway, Holloway's still got to be careful, man. Rodríguez can pull this out of his butt at any time. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean, he can land that one shot from anywhere, anytime. He's done it before in multiple fights. Max with a big right hand. But Yair has hit him a few more times this round than in the couple of rounds before. It's a war, this fight. 20 seconds left in the round. Max with a big left out of the southpaw stance. He goes for a spinning kick. This is a fight of the year candidate right here. I say that every week about a fight, but Yair tries a jumping knee. Oh, just missed with an uppercut. This is just...
this isn't Gaethje and Chandler, I don't think. It's a good fight, though.
Yair Rodríguez with a 2-year layoff. No shame in his game, Jeff. Let's talk about him for a minute. What a performance. Even though he's been dominated these last few rounds. I mean, Yair Rodríguez leaving it all out there. For a big underdog, that's all you can ask for. Just throw everything you can at him. And that's what he's doing. I have so much respect for Pantera.
Yeah, I mean, I have Max winning the last 3 rounds. Rounds 2, 3, and 4, clearly. I mean, not even questionable.
Right.
Yair did have a good last 30 seconds of that 4th round, though. And even so, even if we give Yair the first round, it's 3-1 heading into the 5th. But Yair looks like he's got his second wind, if you ask me, Jim. He's got his speed back in his punches.
And Max is kind of swollen in his face, too. I mean, Max is definitely, I don't want to call him tired because I don't know if Max Holloway gets tired. But, I mean, neither guy giving an inch, both throwing everything they have at one another. And it's going to take every bit of greatness that Max Holloway has in him to win this fight over Yair Rodríguez is what we could hope for. Yair's battered. He's bloodied. Both of his eyes are swollen. He's got blood coming down. They just, they just hugged it out real quick in the middle of the cage. Love to see that. Some respect for one another.
I want to update a statement I said earlier, Jim. This is apparently a 3-man division.
You're talking about Yair.
Yeah, I mean he's losing the fight, but I think that he's in it as definitely as much as if not better than Ortega was.
Do you think he beats Ortega? I was just going to ask you that. Ortega and Yair. There's a fight.
I don't know. It's a very interesting fight, man. It's a different matchup. Yair's kicks are going to be dangerous against anybody. And so that's what I think that Ortega needs to try to get in close.
If Max doesn't get finished, he wins the fight. He's up 3-1, clearly. There's not a judge alive.
Unless he loses
a
10-8
big knee to the head from Holloway. Yair's in trouble. How did he get out of there? Oh, that was vicious, man. Did you see that knee, Jeff?
I just saw it.
Oh. Yair throwing a lot more elbows now. Interesting strategy, I should say.
Yeah. On the inside, Yair likes to go because he's got longer arms. And I think that's smart of him because you got to loop a punch on the inside with longer arms. And he just hits him with the elbows. His elbows are, oh, shit. That was a hard elbow he landed on the inside.
Max is not playing it safe, man.
No.
He's got him up against the cage. Yair's hurt. Max with that right-handed jab from southpaw changed the whole fight. When Yair kicked that lead leg out, which was his strategy, Max goes southpaw and started with that right-handed jab, which is his power hand, and it just changed the whole fight. That and when he timed out the kicks of Rodriguez, you notice Rodriguez hardly throwing any kicks because every time he does, Max has it completely figured out. Like you said, he turned it into a boxing match and a dirty boxing match with the elbows. Oh, a big kick from Rodriguez almost knocks Holloway down. 3 minutes left,
and,
Jeff.
Yeah, and Max is able to stay in. Like, Yair needs space to do his best work, and Max is taking it from him. It's boxing range. This isn't kicking range, and that's interesting. And look, Yair's doing fine boxing. It's just that Max's output, there's no rest, there's no break. He's always throwing something at you.
Oh, Yair tried to throw like a spinning kick where he rolled across the ground and he missed with it. That's a Hail Mary right there. But now Max ends up on top of him. Yair's on his back with 2.5 minutes left in the middle of the cage. No reason on God's green earth for Holloway to let him up here. Just keep him on the ground and win the fight.
Yeah, whenever Yair tried that crazy kick, Max punched him. It landed a beautiful right hand as Yair was trying to get up. But those are the risks that I think.
And how did Yair reverse it? He's on top now. 2 minutes left. Yeah. Rodriguez trying to guillotine on Holloway.
Got an underhook. Yeah, he got an underhook on Holloway's left arm, and he just reversed him. He just straight up reversed him, flipped him.
Dang. This is Rodriguez's best chance right here, and Max trying to sneak out. They're both so sweaty. Yeah, Max is out. He's got the underhook.
Yeah, Max went for an arm bar. Of course, it wasn't.
Oh, that elbow. We would watch out, Max. Big knee from Holloway. That elbow just missed from Yair. Close range. Now Holloway in the clinch. They're both so sweaty, and it's been a long fight. Minute 30 left. Wow. That was Yair's best chance, though. Give him credit. He had a chance for a minute there on the ground. He had a guillotine almost in. He is all heart, Yair Rodriguez. Anybody who ever there's no one who would question that anymore, ever. They're just throwing bombs
and he hadn't been hurt. Yeah, he hadn't been hurt to the point where we thought the fight might be stopped or anything like that. And so, he's had a great showing. He's just beat all the hell. Oh,
man, 59 seconds left. This is a hard-fought win for Holloway if he holds on. Max got poked in the eye now.
And Max is definitely one of those other guys that we talked about earlier, that a 10-minute first round would change everything. Could you imagine Max's output if he didn't have a break between rounds 1 and 2 and he just fought 10 minutes straight?
Yeah, he just went like this, straight out. Yair did, and right through Max's eye with the rake. Holloway's face pretty beat up too. This is a war.
Max doesn't look too bothered by it. Let's see.
But his face is pretty beat up.
Oh, he got him, but that wasn't bad. He was trying to push his face away and time him, and his index finger got up there. But
Max trying to push him against the cage.
Ooh,
buckles him with a right. Yair did. Ooh. You got 30 seconds, Max. Max is going to try to hold him here a little bit. Smart move. With 20 seconds left, Yair going for the takedown. Max tries to grab him in the front for a guillotine, slips right off. Oh, Rodriguez with a spinning kick. Did that land? Max is just going to wrestle him up against the cage, man. He wants no more of this war on the feet. He doesn't want to give Rodriguez the chance to hit him with a Hail Mary here. Very smart move by the veteran champion Holloway, just holding him against the cage. 3, 2, 1. Max Holloway just killed the last 20 seconds of this fight against the cage. Wanted no part of any chance for Rodriguez to get that Hail Mary, Jeff.
Yeah, and he landed some knees to the body. Yeah, there's no hell no. You're in the last 15 seconds of a main event fight that you've won the last 3 rounds, yeah, I'm tied him up and taking his distance away. Good
Holy
fight,
crap,
though.
Jeff.
What?
258 to 229 total, 262 to 229 total strikes, 240 to 201 significant. Each fighter absorbed so many strikes. 3 takedowns for Max, 649 of control to 122. I mean, just 240 significant strikes for Max to 201 for Yair. I mean, that's just such a high output and so much punishment taken by both these fighters. What a fight. Yair did hit him with an elbow that came up in that round, a pretty hard one too. I mean, it's just, wow. What a fight, man. Yair came out smoking in round 5. They're showing replays right now of a lot of the shots that Rodriguez was landing. I don't blame Max Holloway for clenching him up for the last 20 seconds of the fight. Phew, what a war. See, I don't know if this is enough to give Max a title shot. I mean, you'd have to because there's no one else. I'm telling you, man, give it to Triple C. Bring Henry in. Henry and Volko. Max can wait.
Oh, my God. Like I said, let's stick fighters. Let's give, I think we should give it to fucking, I don't know, man.
He's number
Miguel
4
Torres.
in the world.
Miguel
He
Torres,
hasn't fought in 2
champion.
years. I don't know.
I'm not.
I mean, if I'm Henry, that's what I'm tweeting and Instagramming right now. Guy hasn't fought in 2 years. He's number 4 in the world. And you can't finish him. I mean, if I'm Henry, that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to get myself in there any way I can.
He's not getting in there no matter what he does. He'd have to go to Max's house and assault Max's wife and kids and shit to get a fight.
No, and I want to see Yair get a shot against Ortega. That's the fight I want to see next. After 5 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards. Here are the totals. 49-46, 48-47, and 48-47. They must have given Yair the 5th round, 2 of the judges. Max Holloway wins by unanimous, but interesting. 2 of the judges gave Rodriguez the 5th round, Jeff. 1 gave it to Max.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know what Max is saying here. Max is saying, hey, guys, like Yair, accept the fight because he's a dangerous man. If you want to beat the best, you got to be the best. If you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. Max is beat up, man. Sensational fight. How you feeling right now? Feels great. I'm one of the best grapplers. We hadn't, it's a good point. We hadn't seen a lot of grappling from Holloway. He looks great on the ground. Jeff? Jeff, can you hear me? Oh, okay. That's a great fight. What are you guys thinking in the chat? I would have at least thought Max would have fought in the middle for the last few seconds, but I guess he only does that to guys he knows he can beat. Snipe 69. Yeah, that was a winning mentality. Holloway needed to do that. Some guy.
Why the hell would people? I don't understand that.
How is he saying Max is old and oh my God, just go away?
Yeah, I don't get that. I mean, I really just don't get that. They're like, hey, man, you're up in the Super Bowl and it's the 4th quarter and 1 second on the clock. I think you should throw a Hail Mary rather than down the ball. I mean, it's just the stupidest shit people say. It just baffles me. I mean, it literally just, I don't even know how to respond to that kind of shit.
Oh, his foot's jacked up. Yair's foot, it might be broken. That's why he stopped kicking. I thought it was because Max had figured him out and he was throwing the jab and the takedowns, which he was. But if they just showed Yair's foot, his right foot is just swollen and mangled and not good. So that's got a lot to do with why he wasn't throwing the kicks anymore.
Yeah,
incredible.
That's,
that's
part
of
of
the
you
game.
Throw kicks.
Yeah. You mess yourself up as much as you mess the other guy up sometimes.
That's Chris Weidman, Anderson Silva, Conor McGregor, all of them. Kicks are awesome until somebody checks them and you hurt yourself.
Yair's hands messed up too. He can't even shake hands. It's he's limping. Oh yeah, he's badly hurt. His foot's badly hurt. Max Holloway with another win. Does he get the next title shot? Is the trilogy forthcoming against Volkanovski? Or will Triple C work his way in?
Well, Triple C must be paying you because he's not even relevant right now. He's not even.
But I'm telling you, like that's the push. If there were anybody else to fight him, I'd be talking about him. It's
there
Max
is.
again.
There's 15 ranked fighters.
Nah, none of them deserve a title shot.
Title fight?
None of them. Calvin Kattar's at 5. The Zombies at 4. Neither one of them deserve a title shot. Ortega just got beat down in a title fight. Yair just lost. It's a 2-man division. It's Max and Volko, and they really need to hope that Max.
What
wins
about
this
Arnold
fight,
Allen?
And they get another. What about him? He's Arnold Allen.
He's sitting right there.
I hate to say
but it's
that.
Got as much main. I know, but I mean,
he's Arnold Allen.
It's much relevance.
Arnold
I mean,
Allen
look, the only way that shit makes sense, Henry, if you're listening, the only way that shit makes sense if you are a current champion. Like if you held the 135-pound championship right now, then it would make sense, but you don't. You don't have any belts right now.
I mean, he's undefeated in the UFC. His wins are over fading Gilbert
No,
Melendez.
he is not. He's
Nick
not
Lentz
undefeated
and
in the
Sadiq
UFC.
Youssef. Yes, he is. He's not undefeated overall, but he's undefeated in the UFC. He lost in CWFC 69, Arnold Allen. Uh-oh, Jeff, they're playing us off. We're not doing the press conference. We're going to start the press. We aren't. You are. We're going to start the press conference right now from Vegas on MMA Weekly. A big night of fighting. We got to wrap it up and get right to the press conference. That's Jeff Cain. I'm Jim Grieshaber. Thanking you for watching. The Blessed Express rolls on with Max Holloway picking up the win over Yair Rodríguez. It's been a fun show with Jeff, as usual. We'll be back next week for me.